Chapter 26. Time, another day passed in the blink of an eye. Located in the Vega constellation, the 27th main galaxy. A universe ship exits jump mode and transitions to normal sailing speed. Inside the huge and luxurious universe ship are Lin Li and the 4 young masters of Sion. It's finally arriving. Number 1, calculate how long it will take to reach the Namek ball. Lin Li asked the artificial intelligence system. Did it die? The calculation is completed, and it will land in the Southeast Islands area of the Namek ball in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Then it's time to get ready. While speaking, Lin Li walked out of the cockpit and returned to the lounge. At this moment, the 4 young masters of Sion also seemed to be feeling the same. Their eyes widened, and they saw the universe outside through the smart projection. It is no longer pitch black, and it is no longer like a streamer and star shadow. Several large stars can be seen, although not yet the shadow of the Namek sphere, but in this area. This moment. On Namek. Led by Frieza, Dodoria, Sabo, and a group of soldiers from the Frieza Legion are looting a village inhabited by the Namek people. For the Frieza army, as long as it gets in the way and is of no use, the places they pass will inevitably be filled with corpses and smoke. Around here, there is no longer any breath of life. The Namek people who live here have also been killed by none left. In the hands of Dodoria and Sabo, each holds a dragon ball much larger than a large watermelon. Obviously, this is what they got after looting the village here. Although, the Namek people are unwilling to give them the dragon ball, but they can also be found by scavenging. With the addition of combat power detectors, they can quickly lock on to new villages. Hehehe. I got 2 dragon balls so easily, it seems that your wish, King Frieza, will come true soon. Dodoria kept flattering Frieza. Ho 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 ho. Dodoria-san, Sabo-san, you have to take good care of the Dragon Ball. After all, those galactic patrols may have come to the planet, and I am afraid they already want to do something to us. Frieza grinned darkly. Just relying on those gangsters, do you want to snatch the Dragon Ball from me, Dodoria? Wishful thinking. Besides, that guy Chuyi is also on this planet. If those galaxy patrolmen dare to come, I'm afraid I don't need to take action. Chuyi can wipe them all out by himself. Dodoria has always disdain for the Galaxy Patrol. In his opinion, those people are just some chickens and dogs. From the beginning of his vertical and horizontal universe to the present, most of the galactic patrols he has come into contact with are garbage with a combat power of several thousand, and there are slightly more than 10,000 existences. Did it die? At this moment, Saab's detector sent a violent signal. It shows that they have lost the signal with 2 scouts. King Frieza, just now, it seems that 2 of our scouts were killed. Sabo briefly reported. Did 2 more investigators get killed? Did the 2 outsiders do it last time? Frieza was surprised, but didn't pay much attention. It shouldn't be. The data displayed on the combat power detection this time has exceeded 1,500 points, reaching about 5,000 points. A combat power of more than 5,000 points? Could it be that group of Galaxy Patrolmen made a move? Humph. Over the years, I had planned to attack them, and this time they won't evade, so let's just get rid of them. Frieza said. Although, now he only cares about his own immortality plan. After all, as long as he wishes to obtain immortal life through the Dragon Ball, then he will be able to sit as the Emperor of the universe forever. However, the Galaxy Patrol is a serious problem, and he knows that it must be eliminated. Suddenly, the mutation happened again. Boom. The combat power detector worn by Sabo suddenly detected an extremely powerful energy fluctuation, and the combat power detector exploded into pieces. What's wrong? Sabo. Seeing the sudden explosion of the combat power detector worn by Sabo, Dodoria was shocked. But, maybe the machine is malfunctioning, and an extremely astonishing combat force was suddenly detected just now. Sabo replied. An extremely astonishing combat power? How is it possible? I have been scanning before, and there is no existence on the planet with a combat power of more than 10,000 points. I think it should be that your detector is an old model, so use mine. Let's use a new type of detector to detect accurately. As Dodoria used the detector, the value displayed in front of him made him break out in a cold sweat, and he couldn't keep his mouth shut. How? Sabo asked anxiously. This, impossible. Could it be that even my new detector has malfunctioned? Someone's combat power value has reached 40,000 points. Could it be that the master of the Galaxy Patrol has blocked the signal? Dodoria's expression, with a trace of trepidation. 40,000? This combat power has far surpassed the two of us. It seems that those Galaxy Patrolmen are really going to take action. Not only that, but the combat power has reached over 20,000 points, and the worst among them is also over 5,000 points of combat power. With such a powerful combat force and so many people, Dodoria and Sabo were confused, and for a while, they didn't know how to deal with it. It's not a big deal. Even if the Galaxy Patrolmen are really here, it's not a big deal. You two don't need to take action. I have already ordered the Jinnu team, and they should be here soon. These galactic patrols with good combat power have no choice but to die against Jinnu. We just need to continue to collect Dragon Balls. Frieza's answer made Dodoria and Sabo breathe a sigh of relief. In the next second, Frieza's devilish laugh sounded again, hoo hoo. I really thought I didn't know what their Galaxy Patrolman's abacus was. This king was already ready to welcome me, my plan of immortality, no one will be allowed to destroy it. Frieza has already made sufficient preparations for this trip to Namek. Not only did he bring a lot of fighters, but he also notified the Jinnu team in advance that he is bound to win the Dragon Ball. Chapter 27. At the same time, on the other side of Namek. The ancient universe ship of Namek from Earth docks here. However, the universe ship at this time has been destroyed due to the battle. There is no doubt that the plot is similar to the original novel. Krillin, Son Gohan and Bulma had just arrived in Namek when they encountered Frieza's reconnaissance warrior. Although the combat effectiveness of these two investigators was not high, they destroyed the universe ship they were driving before they could react. Now, the tools to leave are broken, leaving them stuck on Namek unable to leave. Although the purpose of coming to this planet is to find the Dragon Ball, without the universe ship, which can guarantee a safe departure, the inner shadow brought by the first time made the three feel very uncomfortable. The universe ship is broken, which also means that we have no way to go back now, woo woo woo. I should have known that I shouldn't have come with you. If it wasn't. What should I do next? What should I do? Although the enemy had been eliminated, the sadness on Bulma's face became more and more serious. On this planet, there are already many enemies, and the purpose of those guys is exactly the same as theirs, all for Dragon Ball. Calling every day should not work, calling the Earth and the Earth not working, it is still a planet with nothing. It means that all guarantees are gone. Bulma Aunt, don't worry, even if the universe ship is broken, we can still find the Namek people on this planet. Since there was a universe ship a long time ago, there must be one now. Son Gohan said with concern. When he came to Namek Ball when he was young, he was not afraid, but very brave. And at this time, it played a very good role model, which relieved Bulma a lot. But Bulma also knows that things are not as simple as it seems on the surface. Gohan still cares more about a lady like me, unlike you with a bald head. If you hadn't been so afraid to attack early, the universe ship would not have been destroyed by the enemy. Bulma responded to Son Gohan's words while pretending to be weak attitude. At the same time, he did not forget to despise Kelin Yaitong. After all, every child is like this, but his senior warrior is so useless. If it weren't for the fact that there was no one else on Earth who could take him this time, she would have regretted taking Kelin with her. Bulma's complaints didn't stop. Seeing that Kelin didn't reply, he fired one after another. If it were Kelin in the past, even if he didn't dare to refute, he would definitely reply. But right now, Kling's attention is completely off Bulma. It wasn't until a long time ago that Son Gohan on the side noticed something was wrong with Kelin. In particular, Kellin's face became more and more livid, and his eyes became terrified, as if he felt something extraordinary. Kelin uncle, what's wrong with you? The expression is so scary. Son Gohan stared at Klin and spoke his mind. Damn! It must be them. Gohan, amplify your perception and feel carefully, those breaths that are approaching the Namek Ball, is it them? Hearing Son Gohan's inquiry, Kelin took a deep breath, barely calming down the frightened heart, the pupils in the eye sockets kept beating. Arrogance? Wait. How could this be? Son Gohan followed Kellin's prompt, and after only 3 seconds, his pupils dilated and Yama froze. Yes, an uncontrollable sound kept coming out of his mouth. I said, what's wrong with you two? Bulma blinked in confusion. She is from Common, so naturally she doesn't know what's going on. Vegeta. That's right. It must be Vegeta. And that scion called Nappa, and Raditz, they're all approaching the Namek ball. Shouldn't they be arrested by Lin Li and taken to the galaxy prison? How did they appear here? Clin uncle, besides them, there is another person whose chi seems to be higher than Vegeta. What? Kling's conversation with Son Gohan already shows how overwhelmed they are right now. In addition to the Frieza army, there are the 3 scions who came to Earth before. Without the presence of Son Goku, if they encounter each other again, they may be really in danger. However, when they perceived it carefully again, the expressions on their faces looked a little better. In addition to those breaths, Lin Li's breath is also there? What does this mean? At least, Galactic Patrolman Lin Li is here, maybe to do something, that's why he brought Scion here. In addition to the chi of those scions, there is also the chi of the Galaxy Patrolman Lin Li. But why did he escort Vegeta and the others to Namek? Also for the Dragon Ball. Kellen boldly guessed, looking dignified. You said, Lin Li is here too. Hearing this, Bulma's eyes lit up, as if he had found a savior. She didn't care about those scions at all, and directly took out the communicator that Lin Li gave her from her waist pocket. Originally, since Lin Li rejected her last request, she swore in her heart that she would never contact Lin Li again. Looking at the communicator in his hand, Bulma hesitated for a moment, wondering if he should get in touch with Lin Li, among the stars. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. The outer ring of the atmosphere of the Namek sphere. Namek. Frieza is on this planet right now. I didn't expect that I would stand on the opposite side of Frieza after I saw the light of day again. The expression on Raditz's face was extremely complicated. If it was in the past, he wouldn't dare to offend Frieza if he had 10,000 guts. However, when he learned that Frieza was responsible for destroying planet Vegeta, he changed. My relatives, my parents, were all buried in the hands of Frieza. They've also been working hard for Frieza all these years, not even a mile of respect. The so-called experience a lot, people will inevitably change. Nappa on the side glanced at Vegeta, who gave him a look. They know very well that it is absolutely impossible to be Frieza's opponent in a direct confrontation. Even if they lurk back, they will not be able to obtain important information, or even be reused. After all, they were just ants in the past, and they would not be remembered by Frieza. So in my heart, I had a plan early on. As for Dales, this guy has been silent. However, there seems to be no threat, but there is actually a hidden murderous intention. A person of his type, perhaps when you let your guard down, will jump out in an instant and give you a fatal attack. Chapter 28. Through the atmosphere of Namek, the universe ship plummeted, crash landing on an empty island. The hatch of the spaceship opened, and Lin Li and Scion 4 also came out one after another. Although it is a very barren planet, the quality of the air is quite good, without any polluted smell. Standing beside the universe ship, Lin Li took a deep breath and couldn't help sighing. Compared with most planets he has been to, the natural air of Namek Ball is definitely one of the best. Not to mention the Namek Ball in the past, the current Namek Ball is really good. After sighing, Lin Li expanded his breath perception, covering the entire Namek in just an instant. In doing so, it is natural to see how the situation on the planet is going. Is it early or late? The smell of the Frieza army and the Namek people were all in his perception. After preliminary calculations, Lin Li also had an accurate judgment. The current stage of the plot is just right for him. Frieza is already on this planet, yes, but definitely not early. Or even, maybe just arrived not long ago. Counting the soldiers he brought, there are not a few. It seems that Frieza is still slowly collecting Dragon Balls. The 2 spirits that accompany Frieza should be Dodoria and Sabo. Thinking inwardly, Lin Li didn't say it directly. In the next second, his eyes turned and moved to Raditz. Because Raditz took the initiative to speak, now that we have arrived at Namek? So what should we do next? Following his words, Vegeta, Dales, and Nappa all became serious. After landing, it is indeed half free. But they didn't dare to act rashly, after all, they had already been exposed to Lin Li's ability in the spaceship before. It is impossible for them to escape smoothly. So instead of escaping, it is better to cooperate well, maybe in the end Frieza is captured, and they are truly free, and they will never be restrained again. It's very simple, I don't ask you to fight Frieza head-on, as I said before departure, as long as you lurk in the dark, or go directly to Frieza and provide us with information. Lin Li said, and went down. I thought of something for a second, and the corner of my mouth frowned again. I believe everyone has played the game of undercover, right? Humph. You mean to let us continue to go back to Frieza and be your undercover agent? Nappa complained dissatisfiedly, but he could only follow through. After all, people have the power of life and death. The strength is so strong that it cannot compete. He glanced at Vegeta, and when he noticed that Vegeta's eyes were vaguely glanced at a certain place, he said in surprise, "What's the matter? Vegeta, you look absent-minded." Cut. What an idiot with well-developed limbs. Haven't you noticed it yet? The enemy has already arrived. You deserve it, you can only be a dog's leg. Dales mocked in a disdainful tone. Provoked, Nappa has blue veins on his forehead. Since the First World War, he no longer has the right to speak, as if everyone can trample him under their feet. You artificial scion, don't push yourself too hard, BD. Although she knew Dales was strong, Nappa still roared angrily. To say he's brainless isn't entirely true, at least he knows that no matter what he does to Dales now, Dales won't do anything to him. Because Lin Li will not allow this to happen. Sure enough, and the strength of the comer is at least 10,000 points. Raditz frowned. I thought it was a wrong perception before, but now that Dales and Vegeta have noticed it, it is not fake. These days, his strength has greatly increased in the prison, but his strength still has not exceeded 10,000 points. The reason why he has perception is because he has been practicing in the prison, and slowly, he has a special perception. It's not like before, but it's just constantly making progress in the battle. Now that you've noticed it, then the first battle after coming to this planet is about to start. I think you've already been exhausted, right? Lin Li took out a pair of restraining handcuffs without anyone noticing, twirling in the air with your index finger, joked. He had already noticed this hidden person, but he just didn't say anything. Now that the four young masters of Sion have noticed it, they have to solve it quickly. Naturally, he won't make a move. After all, Vegeta and Dales can easily crush the ants whose combat power is less than 20,000. Humph. Are you going or should I go? Ignoring Lin Li, Vegeta gestured coldly to Dales beside him. The strength gap is a bit big, and Vegeta can only ask what Dales means in a disguised form. No matter how upset he is, he still has to bow down to others. I don't care. Since you want to go, go for it. Dales narrowed his eyes and said casually. As soon as the words came out, Vegeta lowered his hands that folded his chest. Just what he wanted. After recovering from his injuries these days in prison, his strength has already increased greatly. This is an opportunity to see how powerful it has become. This moment. Behind a rock tens of meters away. Chu Yi, who is second only to Sabo and Dodoria in strength in Frieza's army, is here. He received the instructions from above, predicted the landing place of the universe ship in advance with the help of the combat power detector, and came here to observe immediately. I thought that it would be the Galactic Patrolman who came down from the universe ship, but I didn't expect that the scions like Vegeta came down. Vegeta, Nappa, Raditz. I see, these guys have been mixed up with the Galactic Patrol, this time to fight Lord Frieza together. Humph. You think your plan is flawless? What a pity. I have already seen through it. Just let you continue to be arrogant here. I will report the information to King Frieza, and I will definitely be appreciated by King Frieza. GGGGGG. Chu Yi is considered a smart man. Although he was not afraid of Vegeta and the others, he knew that the enemy was outnumbered and two fists were hard to beat with four hands, so he chose to retreat directly. It's just that he didn't know that when he was observing, his existence had also been noticed. Just when he was about to leave, Vegeta suddenly changed his momentum and yelled at Chu Yi's position, Humph. Chu Yi, I knew it was you, since you are here, don't leave already. Hearing the sound, Chu Yi's actions stopped, and the next second his heart tightened. Without the slightest hesitation, he broke out as fast as he could and fled from this place. Don't try to escape. With a leap, Vegeta exploded at full speed. Chapter 29. Chasing, but a short 10 seconds. Knowing that he couldn't get rid of Vegeta easily, Chu Yi simply prepared to meet him head-on. Humph. Give up resistance? Chu Yi. An evil smile appeared on Vegeta's face, and he stared at Chu Yi with a sneer. Enemies are extremely jealous when they meet. Chu Yi and Vegeta's grievances are no longer a day or two. In the Frieza Legion, the two had a lot of friction because of their similar strength. Do you think I'm running away? You're wrong, Vegeta, this is the tomb I carefully selected for you. I have wanted to do something to you for a long time, but I have no chance. Now that you have betrayed King Frieza, I can also have a chance to kill you. While speaking, Chu Yi pressed the combat power detector worn on his right eye to check Vegeta's combat power. As the value continued to fluctuate, it finally stabilized at just over 10,000. Oh! Your strength has regressed a lot, Vegeta. With your current combat power, is this the only level? It seems that the feeling in the galaxy prison is very uncomfortable. Now you face me, there is no chance of winning. Chu Yi couldn't help teasing, thinking that he was sure of winning. Previously, they were worried about the large number of opponents, and Vegeta's strength was almost the same as his own. Now seeing this combat power index, he drifted away. Really? He. Do you think this is my full strength? A frog in a well. Just use you as a test subject. It is necessary to tell you that when I went to Earth, I learned some useful skills from those Earthlings. Facing Chu Yi's ridicule, Vegeta didn't take it seriously. He had seen enough of this face for a long time, and now he would definitely not be easily offended by Chu Yi. Let me guess, what skill is it? I guessed it, it's the ability to escape, right? Chu Yi continued his sarcasm. As everyone knows, he is one step closer to death. You can still speak in this tone now, take a good look, what kind of index has my uncle's combat power reached? The skills I have learned are ways to control combat power. With an angry shout, Vegeta began to actively release his own energy. In an instant, the veins all over his body popped up, and a powerful aura rushed towards him like a tide, quickly sweeping towards all directions with terrifying power. Haha! After the hysterical roar, Vegeta's true strength was liberated. The ground trembled continuously, and the sea water boiled and rolled. Vegeta's anger soared, and Chu Yi's forehead was also covered with cold sweat. The value of the combat power detector worn on the eyes keeps beating. Controlling combat power? How is this possible? Chu Yi raised his vigilance and cheered up. Show me your detector carefully, and tell me carefully, what is the combat power of my uncle? With the continuous increase in combat power, Chu Yi's face finally changed drastically. Impossible. Your fighting power is at most equal to mine. How could it be? How could it be higher than mine? Chu Yi didn't believe it. Idiot, I have always been fighting on the front line, constantly accumulating experience in actual combat. This time I almost lost my life in the battle on Earth. You are living a comfortable life by Frieza's side. What qualifications do you have to compare with me? Vegeta's combat power was fully released, and Chu Yi kept chanting about the value of his combat power. 20,000, 21,000, 22,000, 23,000. How is that possible? It's already exceeded 24,000. Boom. Until the end, Chu Yi's combat power detector was overwhelmed and exploded. He also finally understood that Vegeta was not his prey, he was Vegeta's prey. Seeing Vegeta approaching him step by step, Chu Yi broke out in cold sweat and kept backing away. Wait a minute, Vegeta, I thought of a good idea, why don't you let me join you? I can help you, in fact, I have long disliked Frieza and the others. My proposal is still worth considering. With my strength and yours, you can easily defeat Sabo and Dodoria. In order to survive, Chu Yi didn't even want his face, but Vegeta didn't accept him at all. I've said a lot of boring things, you disgusting ugly BD. The more I look at you, the more I dislike you. Now, go to hell with me. The killing intent has been released and cannot be taken back. Vegeta raised his hand and shot out a wave of energy light, directly hitting Chu Yi's face. Fortunately, Chu Yi still had some skills, so he dodged Vegeta's energy attack without any risk. This group of energy directly fell on an island not far away. Boom! A bang! In an instant, the entire island was reduced to ashes in the explosion. Vegeta, with a strong killing intent, rushed to Chu Yi at the fastest speed, and the fierce attack fell like a torrential rain. Under the onslaught of the prince's tactics, Chu Yi was directly defeated. He was beaten all over his body and his armor was torn apart. In just a few tenths of seconds, Chu Yi was already on the verge of death, and he might go to get a box lunch in the next second. At the same time, Nappa rushed to the scene, looking at the beaten Chu Yi, felt relieved. Ha 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 ha. I didn't expect you to have this day, Chu Yi. When you were against our scion, did you ever think that one day you would end up like this? Nappa took this opportunity to laugh wildly, with this as to mock Chu Yi's incompetence. This kind of behavior is more or less a bit of a dog's taste. At the same time, Dales and Raditz also rushed to the scene. They didn't show any mercy to Chu Yi, who was beaten to the point of doubting his life, and they maintained an attitude of watching the show. Nappa, BD. Listening to Nappa's ridicule, Chu Yi was angry in his heart, but he was helpless. He clutched the wound on his body and kept stepping backwards. The arrogance he had seen before looking at Vegeta had long since disappeared. Let me go. Vegeta. I'm still useful. Chu Yi kept begging for mercy. If you have anything to say, go to hell and say it. Vegeta didn't want to listen to his nonsense, and raised his hand to condense a ball of energy, intending to end Chu Yi. But at this moment, Lin Li stepped forward to stop it. Chu Yi is more or less a piece of meat. Rather than watching him get killed, capturing him would provide him with a reward. Chapter 30. Congratulations to the host for successfully capturing Frieza Army Intermediate General Chu Yi. Reward obtained, combat power increased by 18,000 points, skill, continuous super bombing. As Chu Yi was put on handcuffs, a system notification sounded in Lin Li's mind. Although for him now, this improvement in combat power will not be obvious. But 18,000 combat power is not a small number. Now Lin Li's combat power has reached 398,000 points, and the distance from breaking through to 400,000 is only 2,000 points away. Okay. From now on, you can act on your own. But remember, bring your communicator and cooperate with us to capture members of the Frieza army. I've already said it before, don't take advantage of the opportunity to escape or betray the idea. For you, it is a good thing that the Frieza army and Frieza were captured by us. Give orders to Scion 4. Lin Li doesn't care what they do next. All in all, the purpose of letting them come is to promote the progress of the plot. Probably the only thing that can help him is help capture those members of Frieza's army. From now on, he only needs to watch the play in the dark. Here, the situation has basically settled down, and Lin Li is also going to take the captured Chu Yi to find the Galaxy Patrol stationed on the Namek Ball. On the other side, Bulma's side. After confirming that it was Lin Li's arrival, Son Gohan and Kellen planned to come up to find out. Bulma was fiddling with the communicator in his hand, and after thinking about it, he still put it away and didn't use it. Since they all know where the other party is, it is more convenient for them to find it than the other party to find them. Moreover, this is the only thing they can rely on for the time being. Frieza etal here. As time went by, Dodoria learned the fact that Chu Yi had been killed through the latest detector. Of course, he wouldn't know that not being able to detect combat power didn't mean he was dead, and he might have fainted without the ability to resist. It should have been discovered by the Galaxy Patrol. Just now, suddenly a person's combat power exceeded 24,000 points, and Chu Yi was also killed immediately. Dodoria sighed. Chu Yi's strength has reached 18,000 points. Although his status in Frieza's army is 1/4 lower than theirs, he is still an intermediate general. It's just 24,000 points of combat power. It's a pity that Chu Yi died, but if he was more useful, he wouldn't have died. Those galactic patrols are nothing but little guys. Even if the combat power exceeds 24,000 points, Dodoria and Sabo can easily kill each other if you work together. Now, let them be arrogant for a while, and when the Jinnu team arrives, it's time to deal with them. Okay, let's go and find the 5th Dragon Ball. The only thing Frieza values is the collection of Dragon Balls. In order to complete the plan of immortality, what is it to sacrifice a few subordinates? He didn't know that it was because of his self-righteousness that he repeatedly hit a wall in the original work and was blocked many times. Now that he has not raised his vigilance due to the appearance of the Galaxy Patrol, it has also made the future defeat more complete. The arrest operation kicked off with the 4 young scions starting to move freely. Of course, Lin Li didn't limit them. They can work hard, or they can do nothing. Of course, he is picking up people's heads in secret and trying to develop. After several hours of arresting, Lin Li's harvest can be said to be quite rich. There are a total of 30 explorers of the Frieza army, with a combined combat power of 105,000 points. The rewards brought by the capture directly increased Lin Li's combat power from 398,000 points to 503,000 points. With more than 500,000 combat power, although there is still a certain distance from the target, compared to Frieza's 530,000 combat power that does not change, he is absolutely sure that he can head on. It's also time to find the Galaxy Patrol stationed on the planet. Thanks to Mel's, who gave me this portable cage, otherwise, it would be really difficult. While talking, Lin Li didn't waste any time, and directly used the remote control the cage to shrink. This is a small space cage, which is the same as the zoom in and zoom out function mastered by the Galaxy Patrol. As long as they are wearing handcuffs, as long as they are locked in a prison, the prisoner will shrink together with the cage. To be honest, this technology is actually very similar to the shrinking device made by Bulma in the early days of Dragon Ball, shrinking himself and being taken by the little Goku to ride somersault clouds. However, at present, the technology mastered by the Galaxy Patrol is more advanced. Grab the shrunken cage and put it in the space pocket. Just as he was about to act, Lin Li suddenly raised his head and looked towards the outer space. His breath has already covered a long distance. Hey! What are these breaths? The 5 rather impressive auras are constantly approaching. Preliminary judgments are all above the unit of 10,000 points. What's more, I am afraid that the combat power has reached more than 100,000 points. Could it be? It's the Jinnu team. Lin Li was surprised. Here it comes. Both Dodoria and Sabo are still, things that shouldn't be. With a sudden change in the plot, Lin Li began to think wildly in his mind. In the original book, Frieza ordered the Jinnu team to come to Namek quickly because Sabo and Dodoria were killed by Vegeta successively, and the universe ship was also destroyed by Vegeta. In desperation, there is no one available, let alone combat detection equipment to help him find the Dragon Ball. Now that Sabo and Dodoria are still alive and well, it is conceivable that the combat probe has not been destroyed. This is clearly prepared in advance. Something is wrong, very wrong. Action detected. Although their Galactic Patrolmen have also come to the Namek Ball, they have been wearing shielding equipment and should not be found. Frieza, who did you get the news from? Could it be that there is an inner ghost? Lin Li thought to himself. When he reported this matter to the Galaxy King, only he, Jake and Myers knew the inside story and the whole story. Jacques, Myers, Galaxy King, none of them could be the ones who leaked information to Frieza. Suddenly, something came to Lin Li's mind, and his whole body was shocked. Indeed, when reporting the mission to the Galaxy King, there were 2 Galaxy Patrol captains beside the Galaxy King. Chapter 31. As the memories deepened, Lin Li thought of the 2 captains of the Galaxy Patrol. If there were really undercover agents, there would be no one else besides them. However, Lin Li is not too sure whether there is really an undercover agent. After all, the plot of the original book changed because of his relationship, and Sion was caught by him and sent to the Galaxy prison to serve his sentence. Of course, the existence of Sion during this period will not affect the plot changes. But God knows, is it because Vegeta came to this planet late, or because he was the Galactic Patrol who caught Vegeta and the others? Therefore, it caused the butterfly effect. No matter what it is, in short, even if there is a change, I can control it. Regarding his current strength, he is still confident in dealing with Lin Li, the Jinnu team. At this moment, Lin Li was attracted to the attention again, looking towards the sky on one side. In the perception, 2 not-so-weak auras are approaching rapidly, and they are quite familiar. I'm not going to find you, did you come to me first? Even Bulma. Before the words were finished, several air waves pierced the space from the sky, directly descended from the sky, and came to the front. Kellen, Lin Li. Son Gohan, brother Lin Li. Bulma, humph. You didn't want to help us come to the Namek Ball before, but you came here yourself. And you released those nasty scions, what are you going to do? Regarding Bulma's accusation, Lin Li was quite speechless for a while. After all, he did refuse to help Bulma. At that time, in order to allow the original plot to proceed as usual, I didn't want to intervene too much. God knows this woman is so vengeful. However, the latter thing is that the Bulma tube is wide. I have my mission, and it is not convenient to disclose it to you at the moment. You just need to know that these scions are now helping our Galaxy Patrol. Actually, I already knew that you are on this planet. You came to me on your own initiative. I also guessed that you should have sensed the breath of Vegeta in the scions. As he spoke, Lin Li's eyes kept shifting from Kellen and Son Gohan. The combat power is indeed much stronger than 2 months ago, but it is not outrageous to the point of breaking 10,000. Therefore, they came not long before him, and they did not experience the potential development of the Great Elder. It's true that I came to you out of curiosity because I felt the breath. Didn't you say last time that you sent them to the galaxy prison? Kellen answered. Brother Lin Li, you are for the evil force behind Sion, that evil guy named Frieza, so you are the one who brought Sion to the Namek Ball. Son Gohan expressed his thoughts more directly. I have to say, Son Gohan has a lot of brains. It's no wonder that his learning ability is so strong in the future. It's a pity that the brain is there now, but it is completely abolished when it grows up. It can be said that it is. Please forgive me for not revealing too much. As part of your job as a Galactic Patrolman, there are some things you can say and some things you can't. Even if he is not restrained now, it is impossible for him to be monitored, but Lin Li has long formed the habit. Even in the face of Son Gohan and Kling, it is better not to say some things, so as to avoid generating more butterfly effects. Since we can't say it, forget it. In fact, we came to you not only because we sensed Sion's breath, but because our universe ship. Kellen changed the subject awkwardly. Speaking of the important point, Bulma jumped out directly. You still have the face to talk about this? If you weren't so careless, how could our universe ship be destroyed? Bulma's reprimand made poor laugh even more awkwardly, not knowing how to answer. Only then did Lin Li know the reason. No wonder she came to him in such a hurry. I'm afraid she also came to seek his protection. It seems that you have encountered a lot. Now that you have found me, then follow me. And if those guys from Vegeta run into you, maybe, you will die directly at their hands. Considering the problems of Sion 4 young masters, and also considering that they have found themselves, Lin Li simply proposed. Anyway, the plot has changed, so there is no need to worry about it so much. Chasing them away, would make him seem unkind. Anyway, they are acquaintances. With Lin Li, Kellen, Son Gohan, and Bulma's faces flashed joy. After reaching a consensus, Lin Li once again got in touch with the Galaxy Patrol stationed nearby through the communicator. After exchanging a few words with them, cast flying technique and go towards the destination. On Namek, a liaison post secretly established by the Galactic Patrol. At this moment, Lin Li brought Bulma, Kellen, and Son Gohan here. For their safety, let them come here and stay here. At least the masking device here can block the detection of combat power detectors. It should be said that the establishment of this contact station is very perfect. A total of 18 bronze medal Galaxy Patrolmen, 3 silver medal Galaxy Patrolmen and 1 gold medal Galaxy Patrolman. At this time, Lin Li, after handing over the formalities, handed over the captured criminals to the Galaxy Patrol here, and then found Bulma and the others. Anyway, he brought it here, and he is an important character in the original work, so he can't leave here without telling them. They stayed here, but he had to go out. Otherwise, who will be arrested? How to get capture rewards? At this moment, after seeing Kellen and Son Gohan again, Lin Li noticed a change in them. Gohan, do you feel it? There are a lot of breaths, and the strength of these breaths is too scary. Kellen's forehead was dripping with cold sweat, and his face showed a look of fear. Yes, Kellen uncle. There are many powerful auras, even more terrifying than Vegeta and the others. The young Son Gohan trembled all over, speaking inarticulately. You guys, what are you muttering to yourself again? Who has come to Namek again? How did Bulma know how serious the situation is now? It can be seen that she is not on the same channel as Kellen and Son Gohan. No need to perceive, I can tell you who is coming, it is the Jinnu team of the Frieza Legion. Lin Li came out suddenly and gave them an answer. Team Jinnu. Bulma blinked, while Kellen and Son Gohan looked at Lin Li seriously, waiting for the explanation. The Jinnu team is a special combat team under Frieza's command, consisting of 5 top combat members in the universe. It can be said that the reason why Frieza can dominate the universe is that most of the territory was captured by this Jinnu team. Under Lin Li's explanation, the Earth Trio's eyes widened. I said, how about we escape on the universe ship now? If they find out, it will be over. Bulma, who is a commoner, had the idea of running away. She knew that if she stayed here, she might die. Thinking of her like this, Lin Li couldn't help laughing. Finally, I know that this woman also has something to be really afraid of. Kling and Son Gohan are extremely serious, because they came to Namek Ball with the mission of Dragon Ball. Now, it seems that nothing can be done. just because they are too weak. Chapter 32. Time, half a day passed in the blink of an eye. During this short period of time, when Lin Li took the initiative to attack, the soldiers of the Frieza Legion were arrested one after another. Although he only used his own strength to arrest a small number of soldiers, Lin Li also arrested nearly 40 people, and his total combat power increased by 73,000 points. Combined with the previous, although it is much less, his current combat power index has reached 576,000 points. In any case, it surpassed Frieza's 530,000 points before he transformed. The arrestees were detained at the liaison station again, and Lin Li also spoke to Kellen, Son Gohan, and Bulma. Knowing from their mouths that Son Goku is about to arrive at Namek Ball, I feel more and more anxious. At this moment, Vegeta and the others should also start planning. If this continues, the Jinnu team will arrive soon. Talking to himself, Lin Li flew away and left the contact station again. Frieza army here. While Lin Li was still guessing, the plan carefully conspired by the 4 Scion Masters had already begun. First, find a neutral position to blast the fuel tank of the universe ship, causing damage to the spacecraft's power system. Then, with this wave of explosions, more than half of Frieza's personal guards were killed. This is just the beginning. Most importantly, steal the 5 Dragon Balls that Frieza painstakingly collected. It can be said that Vegeta's group of 4 people did it with their full cooperation. Looking at the dilapidated spaceship in front of her and the 5 Dragon Balls that disappeared, Frieza was furious. After he learned the truth, his hatred for Scion reached its peak. Damn Vegeta, I didn't expect you to take advantage of it in the end. But don't be too happy. No matter where you escape to, this king will never let you go. Dragon Ball, it can only belong to this king. Sabo, Dodoria. Go and get the Dragon Ball back, Vegeta and those other Scions are going to die and die. After saying these few words, Frieza's expression became even colder, and he spoke again, if you can't finish it within an hour, you will die for them. Annoyed, Frieza couldn't care less, and now he just wants to get all the Dragon Balls back. Sabo and Dodoria were scared after hearing the order. They knew that Frieza wasn't kidding. The so-called companionship is like companionship with a tiger. For their own lives, they set off in a hurry, using the only remaining combat power detectors to track, while chasing in the direction where Vegeta and others might escape. At this time, the 4 young Scions were roaming freely in the sky, and they had all 5 Dragon Balls in their pockets, which made them extremely happy, and also felt an unprecedented sense of comfort. If it weren't for this attempt, how could they have imagined that they could do such a fantasy thing? Raditz, ha 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 ha. It's so fun, I really want to appreciate the expression of our King Frieza now, it must be uglier than eating shit, right? Nappa, Frieza must be blushing with anger now. He treated us like dogs back then. Now, the time for his retribution has come. Cut. Don't be too happy too early. We only have 5 Dragon Balls in our hands now, and the whereabouts of 2 Dragon Balls are unknown. Only after we have found all the Dragon Balls and completed our wishes, can we have the capital to fight Frieza head-on. At that time, neither Frieza nor the Galaxy Patrol will be able to do anything to us. This operation was a great success, and Vegeta's ambitions were completely exposed. However, he is not the only one with ambitions. Let me ask, who is not selfish, Raditz or Nappa? Who wouldn't want to use a Dragon Ball to make a wish? And who stipulated that the Dragon Ball can only be used by Vegeta? Besides the 2 of them, there is Adales. His strength is stronger than Vegeta. I'd rather have something like the Dragon Ball for myself. Vegeta, don't get too excited. The 2 trash fish behind are still chasing after you. If you don't get rid of them, it will be very troublesome. Dales changed the topic and focused on the body of Sabo and Dodoria who kept chasing after them. The strength of these 2 people is the same thing to him, but he doesn't want to waste his physical strength by taking action. Humph. Are Sabo and Dodoria? How dare they follow up? Well, let's settle the old and new feud together this time. Vegeta's eyes revealed a gloomy killing intent. In the next second, the 4 Scion Masters landed on an island at the same time, waiting for Sabo and Dodoria to come to die. As far as they are concerned, no one but Frieza can stop them. Soon, Sabo and Dodoria, who flew violently, landed on the island where the 4 Scion Masters were. Looking at the Dragon Ball in the hands of the 4, the 2 gritted their teeth, and bloodshot eyes continued to emerge. Because of them, they almost PD off Frieza and got implicated. Damn Vegeta! How dare you take King Frieza's Dragon Ball, I think you are impatient. Today, no one can save you, you will die. Dodoria, who had just landed, opened his mouth. That bloody maw was full of stench, and a scorching gold energy beam shot out directly from his abyssal maw. The terrifying destructive power is enough to blow up mountains. What a strong energy! Raditz was startled, and made a huge jump to distance himself. Although his combat power is close to 10,000 points, there is still a big gap between him and Dodoria. Dodoria, that BD, wants to kill all of us together. Nappa kept complaining, and followed Raditz's footsteps, dodging Dodoria's energy offensive. The energy with an intensity reaching the level of 20,000 combat power is not something they can stop. You are the one who is impatient to live, Dodoria, do you think I am still the Vegeta before? With a roar, the energy of Vegeta's whole body poured out like a tide, and the energy that came to kill him, he was shocked by his whole body on the spot. Nanny! Dodoria's eyes widened with disbelief on his face. This guy Vegeta, how did his strength suddenly improve so much? Sabo was also surprised. Isn't this guy's combat power only 18,000 points? How could he deflect my attack so easily? Dodoria exclaimed. Don't be an idiot there. How can I, who has been fighting on the front line all year round, be compared to you pigs who are respected next to Frieza? This time I returned from the earth, my strength has long been different from what it used to be. It's a pity that your detector seems to have been damaged long ago, otherwise I will let you experience the horror. Putting down the Dragon Ball, Vegeta assumed a fighting stance, with bulging veins on his forehead, and the energy in his body began to mobilize autonomously and erupt in an all-round way. Chapter 33. With Vegeta's outburst, Dales beside him couldn't help laughing weirdly. It seems that our Prince Saiyan is going to make a serious move? With your current strength, it is enough to deal with these two self-righteous guys. Watching a good show is no big deal. Dales is that kind of person. Humph. When did Vegeta's little servant become so arrogant? Wild monkey, die to me. Sabo, who noticed Dales, raised his hand without hesitation. The astonishing energy quickly condensed into a compressed air bomb, which escaped from the palm of his hand and directly hit Dale's face. How did he know that with his shot, he provoked an existence stronger than the current Vegeta? And Dales became ruthless, much more ruthless than Vegeta. It's just the two dogs next to Frieza, and they dare to attack me. The combat strength of just over 20,000 is so ridiculous. Dales dismissed Sabo's sudden attack. With just a light palm, the compressed energy bomb was sent into the sky. A violent explosion occurred above the clouds, changing the color of the sky and the earth. The devastating blow was easily parried by Dales, which also shocked Sabo. He also realized that the development of the situation might be worse than he expected. Not only does Vegeta have stronger power than him and Dodoria, but this Saiyan, whom he has never seen before, also has your extraordinary strength. Since you have found me, then I will reluctantly play with you, and it can be considered as a way to pass the boring time. But before doing it, I have to remind you in advance that although I am also Saiyan, I can play with you. These three guys are different. As Dales spoke, the corners of his mouth frowned, and he showed a piercing evil smile. By the way, there is another sentence, that is, the combined combat power of the three of them may not be as high as mine. Hearing what Dales said, a trace of fear flashed in Sabo's eyes. Although I don't believe it, the other party does have strength. Stop talking nonsense. I really don't believe it. How strong are you guys? Sabo, fight together. With the two of us working together, no one will be our opponent. Dodoria's fat body trembled, because they were constantly being hit by Saiyan. The ignorance and insult frustrated his proud self-esteem. No one has ever dared to speak to them like that except King Frieza. Now the four Saiyans have touched his bottom line. He believes that he and Sabo are together, even if they are members of the Jinnu team, they can compete. The obese figure is also very vigorous. After receiving Sabo's nod in response, Dodoria crossed the space and rushed towards Vegeta. For just a moment, he was in a trance. The body suddenly stopped, not only did not touch Vegeta's entity, but almost failed to stop the car because it rushed over the head. Where are you looking? Dodoria. Coming down behind Dodoria, Vegeta said in a teasing tone. At that moment just now, Vegeta moved at super high speed to avoid Dodoria's surprise attack, and reappeared in the original position in an instant. Dodoria was also shocked, her eyes were flushed, and she felt that she had been played with. No. He was being played with. Vegeta was merciless in the next second, punching. Bang! A crushing uppercut to Dodoria's jaw sent the pink fat man straight into the sky. So fast! Seeing this scene, Sabo on the other side shrank his pupils, and his handsome face was replaced by surprise and shock. With the speed of Vegeta's actions just now, with his eyesight, he didn't notice it at all. Once it was an accident, it's normal not to notice, but it's different twice. Frieza's puppy, now is not the time to divert your attention, where are you looking? When Sabo was distracted, Dale seized the opportunity and teleported to him. Oops! Sabo was startled. He was about to defend, but it was too late. Dale's kicked fiercely, directly smashing the armor on Sabo's abdomen, sending him flying 1,000 meters away. This attack can be said to be merciless, several times more ruthless than Vegeta. Chasing after the victory, Dales quickly caught up with Sabo, who was flying upside down in a fit of anger, and launched a fierce attack in a blink of an eye. The situation of the battle was instantly one-sided. After gaining the greatest advantage, Vegeta began to gain momentum. Taking this opportunity, not only to test the extent of his own strength, but also to constantly use the prince's tactics to attack Dodoria. The continuous and intensive offensive tortured Dodoria in just a few seconds. At this time, Dodoria has been frustrated. Logically speaking, with his combat power of over 20,000, even if he is not as good as Vegeta, it is impossible for him to fall into this situation so quickly. He didn't even know that his own strength was thousands of points behind Vegeta's. These thousands of points are an insurmountable barrier. At this moment, Vegeta is not only superior to Dodoria in terms of combat power, but also the humiliation he has suffered in the Frieza army over the years has made him even more powerful. It can also be said that all emotions have completely exploded at this moment. Dodoria, you, a fat pig, have today. Where did you go when you were so proud before? After I became stronger, you are now an ant-like existence. You are only worthy of being trampled under my feet. Vegeta felt indescribably happy. Damn Vegeta! How did your strength improve so quickly? What the hell is going on? Dodoria, who was beaten and bruised all over her body, began to fear. At this moment, I even regretted the arrogant insult I made earlier. He even started to back down, thinking of begging for mercy. It's only now that I know to ask this, it's too late. With a shout from Vegeta, he clasped his hands together, forming a hammer shape, and struck Dodoria's celestial cap. Boom! A burst of air explosion sound exploded. Dodoria's eyes widened, and her entire head deformed horribly. That obese body hit an island not far away like a meteorite. The entire island was torn apart by his impact. In an instant, rocks filled the air and smoke billowed. Dodoria lay motionless in the deep pit. Vegeta's heavy blow had knocked him into a deep coma, his vitality was rapidly depleting, and he would die at any moment. Soon, Vegeta descended from the sky, looking down on the half-dead Dodoria below him. Chapter 34. It's over. Because I was inferior to you in combat power, I was squeezed out and bullied by you everywhere. Now, the tables are turned, go to hell. Dodoria. Overcoming the existence that could only be treated in a humble manner before, the self-confidence on Vegeta's face became more and more obvious. That demeanor was extremely triumphant. This is a manifestation that can only be produced when vanity is greatly satisfied. In the next second, Vegeta raised his hand, and amazing energy condensed into shape at an extremely fast speed. Judging from this posture, there is no doubt that Vegeta wants to completely kill Dodoria. Once this force really hits Dodoria, it can indeed blow up the unconscious Dodoria without leaving any fragments. The situation has come to this point, and Raditz and Nappa watching the game are deeply terrified. Vegeta's strength also refreshed their cognition once again. They knew a long time ago that Vegeta's combat power has reached 18,000 points, which is very powerful, and it is an existence they can only look up to, but at that time, no matter how powerful it was, it could not catch up with Dodoria. Now that Dodoria is so easily killed by Vegeta, it is enough to show how strong Vegeta is now. How strong is Dodoria's combat power? They also all know, a full 22,000 points. Being able to beat Dodoria like this, and even kill it, it can be seen that Vegeta's combat power is at least 25,000 points or more. If I had known that Dodoria and Sabo could be killed so easily, the initial plan would not have been so complicated. Raditz said. For strong strength, he also yearned more and more. To put it bluntly, his own strength has reached 8,000 points of combat power in this year, and he has experienced the kind of satisfaction that can only be brought to him by being strong. Nappa did not speak, but it was not difficult to see from his expression that he was very unwilling. Because of his lack of strength, in the final analysis he could only be manipulated by others. Terrifying energy, constantly volatile, set off layers of storms. Just as Vegeta's attack was about to fall. At this moment, Lin Li's voice suddenly sounded in the sky. When the battle happened, Lin Li had already arrived, but he never showed up, let alone made a sound. Holding the principle of picking up leaks, and with the mentality of not having to work hard, he chose to arrest Dodoria and Sabo directly when the battle was over. It's like capturing Sion with Z-Warrior on Earth. Hearing the sound, Vegeta was stunned, his expression froze for a moment, and he couldn't stop moving. At the same time, he dissipated the energy in his palm. Looking away, Lin Li has already appeared in Vegeta's eyes. He didn't even know, how did Lin Li appear in this area? Cut. It's really time for you to come. Such a timely appearance gave Vegeta a very familiar feeling, but he couldn't explain it clearly. At this moment, even if he wanted to kill Dodoria again, but with Lin Li here, he could only obey the arrangement. Helpless, he is stronger than him. No matter how conceited and proud he is, he still has to bow down and wait for the time to come. As Frieza's right-hand man, he is a very important witness. I have to capture him and bring him back. You can't kill him either. While talking, Lin Li took out a pair of restrained handcuffs from the storage waste bag, and put them on Dodoria directly. Congratulations to the master for successfully capturing the advanced general of the Frieza Legion Dodoria. Reward, combat power increased by 22,000 points, skill, Death Hammer. A system notification sounded in his mind, and his strength improved again. Although the increase of 22,000 points is not much, at least Lin Li's current combat power is approaching the 600,000 point mark. A full 598,000 points. What makes people feel cheated is that the skills that are rewarded are really amazing. The Death Hammer is the so-called Iron Head skill. Turning his gaze, Lin Li ignored Vegeta and looked at Sabo, who was being ravaged by Dales not far away. At this time, Sabo was beaten mercilessly by Dales. He has devoured the fruit of the spiritual tree all the year round, even without much cultivation, but his strength is already comparable to that of the members of the Jinnu team. Amir Saab, under his fierce pursuit, was quickly defeated. Damn! You damn wild monkey, how dare you ruin my handsome face like this? Unforgivable! Sabo was furious. He could accept all the injuries on his body, but his face was the best thing he could protect. As a perfectionist, he will never allow his appearance to be trampled on. Humph! You're a non-masculine thing, it's disgusting just looking at it, go to hell. Dales raised his hands and shot two purple energy beams, which were bound to take Sabo's life directly. At this critical juncture, Sabo couldn't care less, he clenched his teeth, his whole body began to swell, and his handsome face became ugly like a distorted monster at this moment. Hey! Seeing Sabo's transformation, Dales showed surprise on his face. This guy can transform? Never heard of it before. Go to hell. Sion. Sabo avoided the energy attack while roaring, and rushed straight towards Dales. After transforming, his combat power is as high as 28,000 points. Boom! Pound! There were two muffled sounds in a row, and Sabo's fists were tightly held by Dales, unable to move forward. Nanny! How is this possible? What is your fighting power? The attack was blocked, and Sabo's forehead was covered with cold sweat. He is now awake, and the Sion he is facing is much more terrifying than the stronger Vegeta. You don't need to know. Dales smiled cruelly, threw his hands violently, threw Sabo's arms away, and then punched the twisted and ugly face with all his strength. Sabo, who was hit hard, only felt his world spinning for a while, and his body was shot straight out like a kite with a broken string. After catching up violently, Dales gained momentum and unleashed all kinds of deadly and vicious attacks in succession. Chapter 35. Crack! Click! 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 Under Dale's continuous onslaught, all the bones in Sabo's limbs were broken, and then he was kicked from the sky by Dales. He also seemed to know that Lin Li had arrived and captured Dodoria, so he just kicked Sabo towards Lin Li by coincidence. It seems to be unintentional, and it seems to be intentional. Most people may not notice this kind of practice, but it is impossible for Lin Li not to notice it. Dales is deliberately taking this opportunity to vent his emotions. Of course, Lin Li didn't take this incompetent covert action seriously at all. Dales had better not provoke him, and if he did, he would never be polite. Not only will Dales be captured again, but he will definitely be killed. After all, people who are shameless are the most unsightly. Naturally, Vegeta was also aware of the same. He couldn't do anything but stare blankly and feel angry. Descending from the sky, Dales came to Lin Li with arms folded. Seeing that you captured Dodoria, then you must also capture Sabo. This guy has lost the ability to resist, so you can directly arrest him. There was no answer, and Lin Li didn't go to see Dales. He took out a pair of restraint handcuffs from the storage pocket on his own, and handcuffed Sabo when he couldn't resist. The handcuffs had just been put on, and before the sound of the system could be heard, Sabo's motionless body suddenly began to twitch violently. The severe pain restored his consciousness a bit. He raised his head and saw Lin Li, and looked around to find that Vegeta, Dales and others were beside him. Especially, with the unconscious Dodoria on the side. So, Vegeta, you guys have long been with the Galactic Patrol. Damn it! Let me go, damn it! These handcuffs can absorb energy. Sabo shouted in a deep voice, and began to resist tenaciously the next moment. It's also what everyone in handcuffs does. It won't take long for them to know that once the handcuffs are on, the more they struggle, the faster the energy in their bodies will be lost. Congratulations to the Master for successfully capturing the Frieza Legion Advanced General Sabo. Reward obtained, combat power increased by 28,000 points, skill, elegant light burst. After the capture is completely confirmed, the system's prompt beeps. Combat strength has risen again, with more than 600,000 nodes, reaching 626,000 points. It's really embarrassing, Sabo. It's hard to imagine that you, who are usually in high positions and powers, will be reduced to prisoners one day. Your future lives will be very painful. I really look forward to your expressions when you arrive. Vegeta put his hands on his hips, walked in front of Sabo arrogantly, and looked down at him from a high position. The contempt and ridicule in his eyes made Sabo raise his head angrily, gritted his teeth and glared at Vegeta. Ugly guy, it's disgusting to see your face, go away, annoying guy. If it wasn't for Lin Li, because he had been arrested by the Galaxy Patrol, Vegeta made up for it. Sabo was furious, damn. Don't be too complacent, Vegeta, do you think you are qualified to fight King Frieza by joining forces with these Galaxy Patrols? To tell you the truth, King Frieza has already informed the Jinnu team that they are already on their way. Besides, you think that a mere tens of thousands of fighting power can compete against King Frieza? Stop talking about your idiots. As soon as the news about the Jinnu team came out, the expression on the face of the Scion Fourth young master froze instantly. It can be said that fear appeared in the eyes. How could they not know the Jinnu team? You said, that guy Frieza has already sent the Jinnu team. Humph. Tell me everything you know. Vegeta grabbed Sabo's collar and lifted it up. Said, threatening fiercely. Ha ha ha, are you getting scared? Vegeta. You should be very aware of the horror of the Jinnu team. Once they arrive, it will be the time of your death. Sabo started his taunting mode. If you don't tell when they will arrive, I'll kill you right now. By this time, Vegeta seemed to ignore Lin Li's presence. He's also a little overexcited, obviously shadowed. It's so pleasant to see you panicked. Vegeta. You must regret being an enemy of King Frieza now, right? Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Okay, just put him down. Looking at him like this, he seems to know so much. If you keep asking, he won't say anything. Lin Li couldn't stand it anymore, said. Cut. Good luck, Sabo. Vegeta reluctantly put Sabo down. When Sabo heard this, he was even more disdainful. Already arrested, he has nothing to say. But he believed that King Frieza, the Jinnu team, would definitely avenge him. He wouldn't know that his existence was nothing to the Jinnu team. Let alone in Frieza's eyes. After putting Sabo and Dodoria in a portable cage, Lin Li shifted his attention and looked at Raditz and Nappa, who were deliberately hiding, and the Dragon Ball on their bodies. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, and Lin Li also looked at Vegeta thoughtfully. Such an expression made the four Scions chill. You don't seem to have stipulated that we are not allowed to collect Dragon Balls. Vegeta calmly talked to Lin Li. Of course, this is not within the scope of the regulations. I have no objection to your collection of Dragon Balls, but you'd better not do anything that would endanger the people of Namek. Otherwise, you may have to return to that empty prison again. Gone. A simple little threat. It can't be regarded as not seeing it, but there is no need to worry about the Dragon Ball. After all, you can't make a wish just by getting it. You need to use the language that Namek can make a wish to make your wish come true. Of course, I don't want to go back to that place again. Seeing that Lin Li had no interest in Dragon Ball, and didn't restrict them, Vegeta showed a smile on his face. As long as he can realize his plan of immortality, he doesn't have to listen to Lin Li anymore. At that time, even Frieza, he can kill the opponent. Then I'll take a step ahead and look forward to your next performance. Lin Li chuckled, took away the portable cage, and jumped straight into the sky. Chapter 36. Watching Lin Li disappear into the sky. At this moment, the four young masters of Sion came together under double pressure. Even if they didn't deal with it before, they have to cooperate more closely now. Raditz, Team Jinut. Is that guy Sabo telling the truth, or is he just lying to us? That guy Frieza, did he recruit Team Jinut by such a coincidence? Nappa, damn Frieza, what are we going to do now, Vegeta? Vegeta, cut. If it's true, right now we can only speed up the process of collecting Dragon Balls. After the three finished speaking, they looked at Dales again. At the moment, Dales is the strongest of the four. Although they are much stronger, even Vegeta can defeat Dodoria and Sabo. But it is still too young to deal with the Jinut team. At this moment, Dale's eyes were serious. What are you afraid of? So what? Don't you forget, those galactic patrols won't just sit around and do nothing? That Lin Li will definitely bring the news back. After all, Raditz, Nappa and Vegeta also had new ideas in their hearts. Exactly what Dale said. Lin Li also knew that the Jinut team was coming, and the reason why he left in such a hurry might be to prepare. They wouldn't know that Lin Li knew that the Jinut team was coming, and he went back not to discuss countermeasures, but to make further preparations to capture the members of the Jinut team. From this, let your own strength improve faster. Breaking 1 million is the first step of the plan. Let's go, it's time for us to find the remaining 2 Dragon Balls. Vegeta gave the order and immediately raised his head and took off. Raditz and Nappa exchanged glances and followed. Only Dale stayed behind and followed after thinking about something in his mind. Damn the Jinut team! You guys came just in time. Let's settle old and new grudges together. The other side. Escorting Sabo and Dodoria, Lin Li quickly returned to the contact point. As before, the captured Sabo and Dodoria were handed over to the guards. Lin Li was just about to set off to do something again when a voice from the communicator suddenly sounded in his ear. Taking out the communicator from his pocket, Lin Li opened it, and it was Myers' call that caught his eyes. He has only reached out to him once since the departure to the Namek ball. I didn't expect him to take the initiative to contact him at this moment. He answered without hesitation, and Myers' voice came from the other end asking about the progress. Lin Li, how is the situation on your side going? It's not bad for now. The operation is very smooth, and the scions of Vegeta Dales are also very cooperative. For now, I have captured most of Frieza's men in the Namek ball, including Frieza's left and right hands, Chuyi, Sabo, and Dodoria, who have also been imprisoned. The only pity is that there is no way to shoot Frieza. His strength is much stronger than I imagined. Reporting the situation one by one, Lin Li also deliberately told Myers, Frieza is very strong, and they cannot catch it now. At the same time, it is also testing when Myers will come to the Namek ball. Because if Frieza were to be captured, even those Galactic Patrol captains would not be able to do it. Of course, there are master characters in the Galaxy Patrol, but there is really no one with a combat power exceeding 100 million. At least, not on the surface. As far as Lin Li knows, the powerful ones have only a few million points in combat power. Probably the most powerful one, but with tens of millions of combat power, right? It seems to be much smoother than I imagined. You don't have to worry about Frieza, and your next actions don't need to be too ostentatious. Wait and see what happens, try to avoid Frieza's edge as much as possible, and wait until the follow-up troops arrive. Make another plan. Myers was quite satisfied with Lin Li's answer. He knew that Frieza could not be captured by Lin Li and the others. Now that most of the Frieza army has been arrested, the goal has been achieved, and the next step is to use this to suppress the frozen demons. What Myers has to do is not only to capture the Frieza army, but his goal is to attack the entire Frozen Demon clan. He wants Frieza to be left alone at the Namek Ball. So that's it, I know, I'm just afraid that Frieza will be in a hurry and force us out and destroy the planet in order to get the Dragon Ball. Lin Li said again. I thought of this early on, so after you left, I have sent reinforcements to your place quickly. At least there is no problem in checking and balancing Frieza. At this stage, you must pay attention to it. If there is any emergency, you must let me know as soon as possible, Myers said. Okay. Nodding in response, there is no other way. No matter who made him his immediate boss, he was Novice Angel. Soon, contact was lost. After the handover was completed, Lin Li set off again after a few instructions. He, too, has to find a special Namek before the rest of the Galactic Patrolmen arrive. Covering the entire Namek with breath, Lin Li quickly locked the position of the Great Elder. Although the Namek people have the ability to change the strength of their aura at will, the quality of their aura is different, especially the aura of the Great Elder, which is fundamentally different from the Namek people in common. At the same time, in the universe, on the surface of the Namek sphere, a universe spacecraft with the logo of the Galaxy Patrol hovered here, but it has not landed for a long time. Hey, Jacques, why don't we enter Namek? Aren't those Frieza troops you mentioned are all on the planet? We dock here, how do we catch them? Tais mumbled displeased. Pouted, and asked. This arrest was not organized by me, so I have no right to intervene. I just need to wait here and wait for the order. Jake replied to Taisai with a speechless expression. Although most of the fighters of the Frieza army start with a combat strength of 1000, there are many of them who have a combat strength of more than 10,000. He's just a rookie with thousands of combat points. Going to Namek is asking for trouble. If you are found out, you might lose your life. But staying here, it's so boring, and it doesn't help me much in collecting materials. My aunt, do you think this is taking you on an alien trip like before? This is a mission, a very important mission. Jake couldn't help covering his face and roaring. He was completely crushed by Tais. Reluctantly, Jacques had to take out the communicator and started to get in touch with Myers, who was on the other side of the universe. When the communicator is connected, Myers' image appears on the small display screen of the communicator. Chapter 37. Seeing the screen displayed on the communicator, Jake immediately asked Myers for instructions. Myers, I have now reached the surface of Namek's planet, what is my next plan, what should I do? Jacques also hopes to be arranged by Myers to prove that he is a useful person. Even if it is just doing chores in this operation, at least it will be counted in the contribution. He didn't know that Myers had already made arrangements for him to act with Lin Li. However, he was still thrown away by Lin Li currently. The advanced troops have long been lurking on Namek. I have also contacted Lin Li before. I plan to let you act with him. In the current situation, if there are too many people, it will be easy to scare the snake. So Jake, you now just wait for the notification in place, and if I need your reinforcements, I will notify you as soon as possible. Also, the troops behind have already set off for the Namek Ball, so now, you actually have a mission, help me keep an eye on the Namek Ball, don't let a fly go. Following Myers' words, Jacques immediately understood the meaning of this arrangement. Understood, I promise to only get in and out. Jacques replied. Myers has already directly helped him minimize the danger. At least for now, he doesn't need to risk going to the Namek Ball, he just needs to stay here, guarding the Namek Ball. After breaking off contact, the atmosphere quickly calmed down. At this moment, Tais, no matter how reluctant she was, had no choice but to obey the order and wait quietly in the universe ship. At least Myers had told them not to go to the planet. The screen turns. Namek on top of the ball. Lin Li used flying technique to keep moving towards the destination. The speed he used was not fast. It could be said that while visiting the scenery of this planet, he was also thinking about how to communicate with the Great Elders so that he could help him develop his potential. After all, he didn't go to save Dende like in the original book. So, to the Namek people, it's no different than invaders. The only identity that can be relied on is the leather jacket of the Galaxy Patrol. Don't be afraid that if the elders of Namek Ball don't help him develop his potential, he is afraid of causing too much trouble. Lin Li doesn't like to force others, and even less like to brainstorm with a certain group of people. It is really unnecessary to use coercion and lure on the current Namek people. Hey! These auras, our son Gohan and Kellen. With a murmur, Lin Li was taken aback. I did not pay attention to them for some time before, so I ignored their existence. Unexpectedly, they went out to wander around the planet, and their current location was not far to his right. Should be looking for Dragon Balls? With Bulma's Dragon Ball radar, they can easily find Dragon Balls. But now, most of the Dragon Balls are in Vegeta's hands, and they can only find 1 or 2 at most. Lin Li was talking to himself, and the next second, he took the initiative to approach. In fact, in the original book, they were also recognized by the Great Elder. Not only their potential was developed, but also the Dragon Ball was deposited with the Great Elder. As a result, on the return journey, Vegeta took advantage of the opportunity because he was too excited to expose his breath. Over the archipelago, Son Gohan and Kling are flying. Beside them were 2 young Namek children. Dende, Neil, how long will it take for us to reach the place where the Great Elder is? Kling couldn't help asking during the flight. This place is already far away from the station of the Galaxy Patrol. If we continue on, we will encounter powerful enemies, which will be difficult. Come out with him Gohan just to find Dragon Ball. Coincidentally, they arrived at a village, and after the Namek people there warmly entertained them, they asked Dende and Neil to take them to the location of the Great Elder. The Namek family suffered a catastrophe, and now as long as they can help the Namek people, they are friends. Dende, of course, is the original Dende. Krillin and Son Gohan didn't save him like in the original book, but it happened anyway. Neil was the child who was killed by the Frieza army in the original book, but he did not die because of the change of the plot. We'll be there soon. At this speed, we'll arrive in less than 10 minutes. Neil answered first. His character is much more lively and cheerful than Dende's. Dende's words are introverted and quiet, giving people a very cute feeling. Neil is the very familiar kind. 10 minutes? Calculated according to the distance, it's too far. Hearing the answer, Lin became more worried. On the other hand, Son Gohan is not afraid. Uncle Klin, don't be too nervous. According to the intelligence of the Galactic Patrol, most of the evil guys in the Frieza Legion have been captured now, and that Frieza still has a part of the Legion warrior. I won't come out and wander around at all. And, aren't they all discussing the Jinnu team? So as long as the Jinnu team doesn't show up for the time being, then as long as we avoid some places, nothing will happen. Son Gohan, somewhat naive. After all, Kellen is also an old warrior, thinking more, I hope so. In fact, what I fear most is not the Frieza army, but those scions. Before he finished speaking, Kellen's expression changed. Because a breath is approaching rapidly. The 4 of them also stopped flying at the same time. Just a few seconds later, Lin Li had already appeared in front of them. It's really you, running around at this time. If something happens, no one can save you. The first time they met, Lin Li scolded a little. Because of Lin Li's accusation, Kellen scratched his head in embarrassment. On the other hand, Son Gohan is like a child who has done something wrong, showing aggrieved favor. Lin Li uncle, we didn't do it on purpose, just as you know, everyone on Earth died because of Vegeta's invasion, so we must find the Dragon Ball and revive everyone. From Big Brother Lin Li to Uncle Lin Li. If Lin Li is drinking water and eating, he must be sprayed in the face. This became too fast. By the way, why did you start calling me uncle? I still feel that elder brother calls me kindly. Although the seniority is messed up, it's better to be young. Lin Li said. I don't want to either, but Bulma aunt said I should call you uncle because you're daddy's friend. Chapter 38. Bulma's Divine Operation. Which pod is not opened and which pod is lifted? If Lin Li was on the scene, his mentality would definitely explode. Although, this is indeed the case. But, who would talk about this kind of seniority these days? If we talk about seniority, the future Son Gohan will not be called Kellen when he gets Kellen, Tien Shinyan when he gets Tien Shinyan, and Yamcha when he gets Yamcha. High and low, he should also be called Uncle or something like that. Without entanglement with this point, Lin Li will not be serious with Son Gohan. Even if this kid is the strongest single warrior in the future, his mysterious form will beat everything. But now, he is just a little devil with a fighting power of only a few thousand points. After all, the development of the potential has not even been carried out. Whether it can break through 10,000 depends on whether the next plot will go on smoothly. However, Lin Li determined that this Pokerin and Son Gohan will inevitably be exploited potential. Because the two Namek children have already told Lin Li what is going on now. I knew it in my heart, and naturally I didn't forget to say something on the surface, and finally confirmed that the situation was as expected, and Lin Li became one of them. Go to the Great Elder together. With Lin Li by their side, Kellen and Son Gohan naturally felt much safer. At any rate, they are the Galaxy Patrol, and they are very powerful. Otherwise, how can they hold down the scions of Vegeta? In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes later. Under the leadership of Dende and Neil, Lin Li arrived at the Great Elder Mountain in the original book along with Kellen and Son Gohan. The first thing I saw was naturally not the Great Elder, but the warrior who guarded the Great Elder, Ni Lu. In the original book, the most powerful Namek warrior in the early days. His battle strength was praised by Frieza, reaching 42,000 points. With more than 40,000 points of combat power, this is a strength that can compete with those members of the Jinnu team. Although it is nothing in the later stage, this strength, no matter on any advanced planet, can be regarded as one of the best combat power. Not as difficult as imagined, nor as difficult to get along with as imagined. On the contrary, Nira's performance is very kind. After saying hello, Ni Lu led the three of Lin Li into the inner room, and thus formally met the Great Elder who was dying. It can be said that it is really ominous in old age. Just when I was about to die, I ran into Frieza's invasion and capture of the Dragon Ball. Simply perceiving the aura, Lin Li can be sure that the strength of the Great Elder when he was young is not trivial. If this is the young Great Elder, Frieza might not be able to take advantage of it, right? After a detailed exchange, Lin Li also expressed his intention to come. Of course, the potential development didn't say it directly, it just stated that it was the Galactic Patrol, and now it has punished criminals on the Namek Ball. That's all there is to say about him. All that remains is Kling, Son Gohan's narration. Even though it has been a long time, Lin Li vaguely remembers that the plot developed in this way, and then the Great Elder developed the potential for Kellen and Son Gohan. The development of the matter also slightly exceeded Lin Li's expectations. All in all, he can be sure that the plot has been changed by himself to some extent, and many offsets have occurred. But it seems that there is a force in the dark, which caused the key things that should have happened in the original book to happen. After the detailed chat, the Great Elder also entered the emotional stage. It can only be said that people have seen everything through the year. But he couldn't bear the humiliation and slaughter of his tribe by the evil existence, so even if he might die now, he would make a final contribution to his tribe. And this contribution is the development potential. Kellen and Son Gohan didn't know how to make the Great Elder trust, and they were directly exploited by the Great Elder. The fighting power of the two also directly soared to more than 15,000 to 20,000 points. Compared with their normal maintenance of 1,500 combat power, it has increased by 10 times. Of course, it won't be 10 times, after all, their strength is hidden. Lin Li was surprised that the Great Elder could only do this. He can feel that both Son Gohan and Kellen still have a lot of room for development, but the Elder said that he has tried his best. It may be that old age has caused him to be unable to continue to develop, or it may be that he is trying to maintain his own life. This is also an idea based on the plot results of the original work. This Dragon Ball, I give it to you, I hope it can help you. As for making a wish, Dende and Neil will help you. With the words of the Elder, he will also hide the Dragon Ball hidden here. The ball is handed to Kling. Such a result surprised Lin Li even more. Because of his intervention now, wouldn't it be more appropriate to give him this Dragon Ball? He simply didn't care about things like Dragon Ball, otherwise, he would feel somewhat unbalanced. Kellen, thank you, Grand Elder. Son Gohan, great, now we've taken the first step. After the two were grateful, the Great Elder nodded and gestured to Neil at the same time. Neil acted as seeing off the guests, and temporarily invited Kellen and Son Gohan out of the house, including Dende and Neil, and followed them out. Lin Li, on the other hand, stayed in the house and met with the Elder alone. Lin Li was even more unexpected in such a situation. Not only him, Kling and Son Gohan were also incredible. They were all guessing what was going to be said between the Great Elder and Lin Li. Or rather, what will happen. No way of knowing, they can only wait outside. After more than 10 minutes passed, Lin Li came out of the house, and the expressions of doubt on the faces of several people became more and more serious. Lin Li didn't say anything. After taking a look at Ni Lu, he gave him a look and nodded, then pulled Kellen and Son Gohan away directly. As the saying goes, accidents always come at the end. Lin Li didn't believe this sentence before, but now he does. The elder, after Sun Gohan and Klin went out, talked with him a lot about the past of the Namek people, and until the end, he also helped Lin Li develop his potential. At the same time, he saw that Lin Li is also a scion. However, he didn't say it, but prayed for Lin Li to really help the Namek people through this catastrophe. As for the reward, it is this development and the Dragon Ball of the Namek Ball. From now on, as long as Lin Li needs it, she can come to make a wish. The only premise is that the wish should not be too outrageous. For example, never die. For example, immortality. For example, becoming the Emperor of the Universe and such. After this development, Lin Li's combat power has also directly increased to 1.5 million points. This is more than doubled. How can you imagine it before? And Lin Li can only attribute the reason to Sion's blood. Chapter 39. Time passed quickly, and 2 hours passed in the blink of an eye. In the universe ship, Tais can only watch the scenery of the universe starry sky through the window boredly. In fact, in this starry sky, it is really different from other starry sky. Because the area where the Namek Ball is located is always daytime, even in the universe space, it will be very bright. Jack, Jack! Look, what's that? In the depths of the universe, 5 deep red rays of light flickered, quickly attracting Tai's attention. This also lifted the spirits of Tais, who was bored in every way. In her line of sight, the 5 bright lights were getting closer, but she just couldn't see clearly. Until these bright lights passed by not far away, like meteorites, they fell straight towards Namek. Jake on the side, after hearing Taisai's inquiry, had already spotted them. With a flick of his fingers on the control device, he recorded a video of the 5 universe ships speeding away, and took a comprehensive photo by the way. When he saw the special markings on the 5 prototype universe ships in the photo, his face changed drastically, and panic was revealed on his face. Key. Jinnu team. Frieza, that guy actually summoned them all to Namek. Jake exclaimed, a little out of control. Team Jinnu? What is that? Seeing Jake's panicked expression, Tais turned into a curious baby. Tais has long known about the Frieza army. But she didn't know what type of team the Jinnu team belonged to, and how terrifying it was. I advise you not to be interested. This is a very evil and cruel aggressive team. Before Gabe could tell the reason, he couldn't help shivering. Who made his name too big? Enter Namek. The Scion 4th young master, who was searching for the remaining Dragon Balls, was suddenly taken aback. Looking at the sky at the same time, 5 small universe ships broke through the space and galloped away into the distance. Raditz, damn it! They came so fast, people from Team Jinnu. Nappa, damn it, how long has it been? We're short of the last Dragon Ball. It seems that the plan still hasn't caught up with the changes. It came so fast, and we have to hide next, and we can't be as unscrupulous as before. They must also be wearing the latest detectors. If we continue to release, the energy will also be found soon. Vegeta knew that he couldn't mess around like before. Thoughts flowed rapidly in my mind, thinking about the next evolution of action. Dales, on the other hand, had the opposite idea of Vegeta. Instead of sitting here and waiting to die, it is better to hide the Dragon Ball, wait until they come to the door, and then destroy them one by one. With our current strength, it's not impossible for the Jinnu team to win. Dales is not afraid of the Jinnu team. Because he thinks that his strength has reached the point where he can compete with the Jinnu team. How would he know that the warriors in the Jinnu team, except for Gudu, have a combat power that should not be underestimated? Jinyu's combat power far exceeded his 45,000 points. A full 120,000 points. Located in the command room of the Frieza Core universe ship. Frieza, who looks like a deformed baby, is sitting on a floating throne, holding a wine glass, constantly shaking the red wine in the glass. There was neither joy nor anger on his face. But it's the moody Frieza that's the most frightening. The subordinates behind him were all trembling with fear showing on their faces. It's been so long, and Sabo and Dodoria haven't returned. It seems that if nothing else happens, they have been killed. Frieza's tone was very flat, but revealed a kind of breathtaking chill. Yes. A subordinate at the side was terrified. This response also aroused Frieza's displeasure. It's a shame, I don't need a cowardly subordinate like you, just disappear. Frieza's calm words decided the life and death of this subordinate. No. No. King Frieza. SSVSsessions.com Frieza, who is always moody, shattered this trick with a single thought of the energy wave. The death of a colleague instantly made several warriors present shudder. It's too dangerous to stay by Frieza's side, this murderous emperor of the universe is simply a devil. No. He is 1,000 times more terrifying than the devil. Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! Call out! At this moment, there was a muffled sound in the sky. As 5 streamers passed through Namek's atmosphere, they also came into Frieza's sight. Ho 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 ho! It's finally here, my Jinnu team! Looking at the 5 streamers descending from the sky, a long-lost smile appeared on Frieza's face. What he has been waiting for, the members of the Jinnu team. After the 5 universe ships landed smoothly, 5 members of the Jinnu team came out of the hatch one after another. 5 Special Forces members quickly found the target and assembled in front of Frieza to stand by. King Frieza, this is the latest detector you asked for, and this subordinate brought it to you. Geese handed the detector to Frieza respectfully. Frieza, who took over the probe, was in a good mood, and at the same time issued a new mission to them. There are a lot of troublesome things on this planet that need to be dealt with, and I have to rely on everyone's strength to solve them. The Namek people, as well as the Galactic Patrol, these ants lurking in the dark are really annoying. With detectors, you won't have to worry about catching them. By the way, not long ago, my dear subordinate Vegeta also came to Namek, and took his subordinates to rob my Dragon Ball. So, I need you to catch him immediately. You can teach him a lesson, but you can't kill him. I also need him to hand over the Dragon Ball. Frieza's long confessional didn't upset anyone. After all, he is the king. Of order, King Frieza. Jinyu responded coldly to the order. In the next second, led by Jinyu and assisted by 4 Special Forces members, they put on a strange and ugly special posture. Seeing this, Frieza immediately felt a burst of astonishment, and the corners of her mouth twitched unconsciously. Fortunately, he was no longer surprised by this weird posture, even he felt ashamed. Chapter 40. Team Jinnu deployed. X5 accompanied by continuous loud shouts, the Jinnu team obeyed Frieza's order and dispatched all members. As special forces, although they have always acted independently, they serve Frieza, and as long as it is an order from Frieza, they will execute it as soon as possible. Through the capabilities of the new detectors, they also locked on the location of Vegeta and his party at an extremely fast speed. The strongest has reached 45,000 points, and the weakest has 6,000 points. Likum, Captain, the detectors show that one of Vegeta's gang has reached 45,000 points. Bart, one of them has a combat power of 28,000 points. If there is no accident, this guy with a combat power of 28,000 should be Vegeta. Geese, hey. The other 2 people are probably Nappa and Raditz who were with Vegeta in the past. It seems that their combat effectiveness has improved a lot. Unfortunately, the high one is only 8,000 points, and the weak one is only 8,000 points. Reached 6,000 points. As his subordinates continued to analyze the situation on the opposite side, Jinyu, the leader, showed a teasing look on his face. For him, this will be another good opportunity to please King Frieza without breaking a sweat. And Dodoria and Sabo who were with King Frieza are dead, so he becomes the only confidant. Hey. This time our lovely King Vegeta gave us the credit, we can't let the other party's heart go cold. However, Vegeta has a strong master beside him. If the combat power can reach 45,000 points, you can consider wooing him. It's best to be able to use it for me. If you don't want to, then you have something to play with. Even if you have 45,000 points of combat power, you may not be able to defeat you alone. How you plan to fight is up to you. In addition, the 2 scions with less than 10,000 strengths, Gudu, will be handed over to you, how about it? Jinyu has already assigned the task before meeting the Scion 4th young master. Even, they still don't forget the living treasure in their group, Gudu. Although the strength is not strong, but the terrifying ability has become a very useful skill for the Jinnu team. Gudu has always been a hard worker in the team, he can't get any benefits, but he does the most hard work. At this moment, Gudu was very depressed. The grievances with Vegeta are constantly recalled in my mind. When he had a conflict with Vegeta, Frieza was more inclined to Vegeta. So far, Gudu has hated Vegeta. Without a chance to take revenge, Gudu could only suppress his unhappiness. Imagine, if Vegeta is defeated by his companions next, he can taunt a few words. Hey! What's the matter, Gudu? You don't want to pee, do you? Every time you go out on a mission, you have the most troublesome things. Likum came up and teased. In the Jinnu team, Likum really took Gudu seriously, and would tease him from time to time. Of course, the kind of friendly teasing. Just like a big brother treats a little brother. That's not it. I was just thinking, after you guys solve Vegeta, you can give me a chance to play with Vegeta. Gudu couldn't help but rolled his eyes. Hearing this, Jinyu was amused. Before he could speak, Bart and Keith beside Jinyu spoke. Bart, you are really greedy, Gudu, the captain has handed over the 2 scions to you to deal with, and you still eat what is in the bowl and look at what is in the pot. Geese, that is to say, there are only 4 opponents, but you are lucky. Taking 2 at once is not enough for you to play. There seems to be a bit of a targeted meaning between the words. But in fact Bart and Keith are just satisfying their appetites. They won't be interested in Nappa and Raditz, who are less than 10,000 yuan. Gudu showed an embarrassing and disappointed expression. At this time Likum came up. Oh! Don't worry Gudu, if I deal with Vegeta later, when he is dying, I will hand him over to you. Don't you just want to trample Vegeta under your feet? Simple. Really? You're the best for me, Likum. Hearing this, Gudu swept away his previous disappointment. Keith and Bart couldn't help shaking their heads. They always think that they are smart, look down on Gudu, and regard Likum as a muscular man with a simple mind and well-developed limbs. Okay. We are all warriors of the same team. We must know how to be humble and help each other. Arguing is pointless, and what King Frieza wants is a living Vegeta. Let's do it later, so be careful. Following Jinyu's words, in the next second, the flying speed of several people accelerated. According to the position pointed out by the detector, the team of the Jinnu team turned into an aurora in the sky. After just 2 minutes, they arrived at the destination area. Humph, finally found it. Jinyu smiled ferociously, and led the other 4 members to sprint with all their strength. At this moment, the 4th Master of Scion is hiding 7 Dragon Balls. A big pit was dug in the simplest way, intending to temporarily store the Dragon Ball underground. It's a pity that the pit has just been dug, and as soon as they put all the Dragon Balls in, their keen perception sensed that a strong man was approaching. A few people turned around subconsciously. Before they had time to fill the hole, the 5 air waves from the sky approached them at an extremely fast speed. Before they could see their appearance clearly, they directly passed the 4 of them, stopped moving in an instant, and fell behind them. Cut! These guys came here faster than expected. Dales had confirmed the situation, and after a cold snort, he fixed his stern eyes on the 5 members of the Jinnu team. Damn! Is it still a step too late? As I said just now, wouldn't it be good to just throw it into the sea? No matter how hard it is to find, you can find it. Vegeta clenched his fists tightly and glared at the 5 people unwillingly. Groob. Nappa and Raditz set up a fighting posture, facing the Jinnu team. If they are not careful, they will die directly. The situation is critical, and it is obvious that they are at a disadvantage in terms of combat power and numbers. What Vegeta was most worried about still happened. He put all the blame on Dales, that's what he insisted on, so now Dragon Ball is also exposed in front of the Jinnu team. It was something they had risked their lives to steal. Chapter 41. It's been a long time, Mr. King Vegeta. I'm here to take the Dragon Ball under the orders of King Frieza. Don't you have any objections? Jinyu smiled, with a teasing tone in his plainness, and looked at him. Looking at the 4 Scion Masters in front of him. Especially Vegeta, is his key object to play with. Hearing the sarcasm, Vegeta gritted his teeth and dared not speak. At this moment, he was at a loss. He knows that his strength has reached a very strong point, and he has no problem beating Dodoria and Sabo. Not to mention that the combat power reaches 30,000, but at least it is more than 25,000. But compared to Jinyu, the difference is too far. Let his strength be doubled, and he dare not speak conceited words in front of Jinyu. Jinyu's existence, like half of Frieza, weighed on his heart. Because he knew how powerful Jinyu was. Let alone 100,000, he can only look up to a battle strength of more than 50,000. His only ability that can be compared with it is nothing more than the Great Ape, which can enhance the combat power by 8 to 10 times. However, although the Great Ape's combat power has been raised to that point, it would be good to have a combat power as strong as 40,000 to 50,000 to fight against it. Not to mention Jinyu, but to say that the other people present, except Gudu, were existences that he could not contend with. Unless it is Great Ape, he has a certain degree of confidence in one-on-one. But they won't give him a chance Great Ape either. Seeing Vegeta's serious look, without answering, Jinyu's face became more playful. I remember the other two guys, are they your men? Their strength has indeed improved a lot, let me see. Oh. I remember this Raditz used to have only 1,500 points of combat power, but now it has 8,000 points. On the contrary, the big guy Nappa is now the weakest, with only 6,000 points. What fun story happened here? Jinyu's teasing wasn't over yet. After beating Vegeta, Raditz and Nappa, he looked to the Dales. Compared to the three of them, your strength is not bad, 45,000 combat power. Judging by your appearance, you seem to be a scion too. With your strength, you are on Vegeta's side, why don't you come and follow me? Captain Jinyu put his hands on his hips and began to solicit with a smile on his face. He obviously didn't notice that the Dales in front of him had suffered from him before, and it can be said that he hated him to the core. I'm so sorry, I have no interest in becoming your subordinate. Besides, I didn't serve in Frieza, let alone take orders from Vegeta. It's no wonder you can't recognize my posture now, but you shouldn't be so forgetful about my voice, right? Dale said, his eyes narrowed slightly, and the cold air was pressing. Voice? You are? The astonishment on Jinyu's face became more and more intense. Dale's in front of him is his acquaintance? He really can't think of it. What? You don't even remember my voice? Damn! Have you forgotten how you belittled me and my men in front of Frieza? Although we are mercenaries. But we can do far more than your Jinyu team. At the beginning, you still brought your subordinates with you, which ruined many good things for me. Dale's mentality exploded. It never occurred to him that Jinyu would forget him. He really took himself too seriously. He didn't think about his own existence, and in his own eyes, he was aloof. But in the eyes of the real strong, it is nothing at all. Therefore, how can it be remembered by others? Just like Vegeta, Raditz and Nappa will be afraid of him, beings with combat power less than 18,000 points will be afraid of him, such as the Z warriors on Earth, will regard him as an absolute terror that cannot be confronted. However, for the strong, existences like Dodoria and Sabo can easily crush him. Even a guy like Chu Yi can sit on an equal footing with him. The atmosphere became incomparably weird. Jinyu still couldn't figure it out, because he couldn't remember little things at all. But Geese, who was behind Jinyu, suddenly thought of something, and said immediately, Captain Jinyu, I know who this guy is. Do you still remember the Phoebe Galaxy that conquered the West Galaxy 2 years ago? At that time, because King Frieza and King Cooler had a quarrel, they insisted on comparing who conquered more planets, so, they found some mercenary teams. This guy should be the one who secretly conquered more planets than anyone else, and we preemptively occupied the planet they wanted to occupy. I remember, it seems to be a guy named Dales. The members under him are all extremely vicious guys with over 10,000 fighting strength. Following Getha's words one after another, Jinyu only got a little impression. Vegeta, Raditz and Nappa were confused because of this. Only then did they realize that they had fallen into Dale's trap. This guy was using them from the very beginning. He had long had an enmity with the Jinyu team, so it was better for them to assist him if he dealt with it alone. In other words, Dales regards them as his subordinates. Treat him Vegeta as an existence that can be fooled casually. Damn it! So you've already figured it out? Vegeta shouted angrily. No wonder, he wanted to do that, Dales insisted on doing it the other way around. Well now, this guy didn't understand the status quo at all. They don't even know the real strength of the Jinyu team. Cut. There is no need to be so afraid. Don't forget, what are our identities now? Even though there are many people on the other side, behind us are the Galaxy Patrol. Are you afraid? I can tell you that that guy is definitely nearby, and his strength is far greater than Jinyu's. Even if we lose, that guy won't stand by. After all, it's his job to capture the Frieza army. Also, I don't think I will be powerless to resist. Dales spoke arrogantly. Indeed, he guessed Lin Li's plan. Moreover, Lin Li has indeed come here. However, it won't just show up just because of these few words. Dales is so arrogant and still treats him as a pawn. Just for this alone, Lin Li will not do what he wants. Maybe when he was beaten to death, but it would never make it easier for Dales. Chapter 42. In a corner not far from the battlefield. At this moment Lin Li is hiding in the dark. Because of his stealth ability, no one knew he was here. Even if the Jinnu team is equipped with the most advanced combat power detectors, as long as Lin Li fully restrains his own power, he will not be detected. At this moment, he had a lollipop in his mouth, and his expression was extremely leisurely. Looking at his sloppy look, it seems that he doesn't care about the life and death of Sion fourth young master. Of course, that's not the case. It's just that Dales is plotting against him, then he has to let him be punished. In the final analysis, this battle should also happen. After all, the original book does have this battle. However, the original is that Vegeta joined Son Gohan and Kellen, and was forced to fight against the Jinnu team. Now he is the fourth young master of Sion. In terms of group strength, it is much stronger now. But the result won't change. Frankly speaking, Lin Li didn't know until now that the Dales group had such a grudge with the Jinnu team. Tisk tisk. This guy deserves to be abused later. Only 45,000 points of combat power, even Geese and Bart can hate him. If those two guys join forces, Dales won't even have the ability to resist. As he said that, Lin Li no longer focused his attention here, but looked towards the sky. Through breath perception, Lin Li has already noticed that a universe ship in the universe is approaching at high speed. Inside this universe ship, there is a powerful aura that keeps floating up and down. Most people really can't perceive this aura, but Lin Li knows that it is Son Goku. It should be said that compared to more than 2 months ago, they are completely different people. Judging from the strength, Son Goku's strength may even be stronger than the original. After recovering from the injury and training with 100 times gravity, Son Goku arrived at Namek with 90,000 combat points. Although it is impossible to determine the exact value, Lin Li can guess that Son Goku's current strength should have broken through the order of 100,000. According to this speed, it should take another 10 minutes or so to arrive. You 4, can you make it to Son Goku? I believe Son Goku will be surprised to see you. After the words fell, Lin Li focused on the Jinnu team again. After some quarrels, the conflict between the Sion 4 and the Jinnu team was completely aroused. However, for the Sion 4, Jinnu will definitely not make a move. It's not that he doesn't want to, but that he disdains it. Also, he had to take the Dragon Ball back first to make his King Frieza happy first. Since we can't talk about it, then these 4 guys will be left to you to deal with. I wish you a good time. I will go first and bring the Dragon Ball to King Frieza. While speaking, Jinyu raised his finger. In just one thought, the 6 Dragon Balls were controlled by using the power of thought to levitate. This scene stimulated the 3 of Vegeta and made Dales frown. Lin Li hasn't shown up until now, what's the situation? The 3 of Vegeta were fooled by Dales. They didn't even think about whether Lin Li was really there or not. In other words, will Lin Li really make a move? Damn it! Vegeta was filled with grief and indignation. He didn't dare to keep Jinyu because of his lack of strength. He could only watch Jinyu take the Dragon Ball away. He knew that if Jinyu was not present in the current situation, maybe they still had a chance to win. Once Jinyu left, the atmosphere obviously changed again. Especially the 4 members of the Jinnu team, everyone had a bloodthirsty look on their faces. Everyone, according to the previous captain's assignment, the Raditz and Nappa will be handled by Gudu, and Vegeta will be played by me. Likum set his sights on Vegeta as soon as he came up. This is also the inevitable result. Because his combat power is not as good as Geese and Bart. Against Dales with a combat power of 45,000 points, he might not lose, but win. But there must be a price to pay. Therefore, it is better to hand over this kind of tricky guy to the pair of Bart and Geese. As far as Vegeta is concerned, he has a little friendship with him, and he has long wanted to play tricks on this wild monkey. At this moment, Likum noticed that his trouser legs were being pulled. Looking down, who else could it be if it wasn't Gudu? Seeing Gudu's expectant eyes, Likum grinned, "Don't worry about Gudu, I'll beat him up and leave it to you to deal with." After all, the two looked at each other with devilish smiles. Did you hear that? Vegeta, I'll torture you later. Gudu said with a dark smile. Humph. Just because you, a waste of less than 10,000 combat strength, want to kill me? Stop talking in your sleep. Vegeta didn't give Gudu a good look. Anyway, his current strength is not bad. Although Lin Li is strong, he is not without the power to fight. With Jinyu and without Jinyu, the strength of the Jinya team is greatly reduced. His combat power touches 30,000 points, and Dale's combat power has been known just now, which is 45,000 points. Maybe, I can win. You. BD. Later I will make you unable to live or die. Gudu was completely enraged. Shoot directly? He wasn't overwhelmed yet, knowing he wasn't the match, so he set his vicious eyes on Raditz and Nappa. With his 12,000 fighting power against guys with 8,000 and 6,000 fighting powers, isn't it easy to catch him? The opponents were assigned, and Lin Li also stood directly in front of Vegeta. Keith and Bart looked at each other, and looked at Dales, then, this guy is our target. As he said that, his eyes became cold. 45,000 points of combat power, this is the first time I've seen Saiyan have this kind of power, but even with such a high combat power, that's it for today. Dales. Ha. It's exactly what I want, that guy Jinyu left with such a conceit, he will definitely regret it. It's just that you, his subordinates, have settled the original accounts together. After speaking, Dales shouted loudly. It is indeed the best for the enemies to come one by one, because they can be defeated one by one. But the current situation is also considered a good thing. Although Lin Li did not appear, but the most powerful Jinyu is gone, it means that as long as these Jinyu's subordinates are killed, and finally they join forces to kill Jinyu, everything will be fine. Chapter 43. As the opponents matched each other well, the battle between the Saiyan 4 and the Jinyu team officially kicked off. The only witness is Lin Li, who hides in the dark with invisibility. He will completely see the process of this battle in his eyes. Lin Li vs Vegeta. Bart and Keith team up to take on the Dales. Gudu 1-on-2, responsible for killing Raditz and Nappa. It's 3 matchups. It's time to die. Saiyan monkeys. With Gudu's shout, the situation changed drastically. Gudu, don't think that the present is the same as before. The you in the past is indeed an existence we can only look up to. But now, even if Nappa and I fight alone, we are still not your opponent, but we will never lose to you together. Retorted Raditz. Hearing this, Nappa followed up, that's right. Even if your combat power exceeds 10,000 points, when it comes to real combat power, you are absolutely impossible to be our Saiyan's opponent. As long as we are careful about your superpowers, I will never be controlled by you. Raditz and Nappa aren't dumb. Knowing the gap in combat power and Gudu's ability, he did not hesitate to strike first. At the same time, he rushed towards Gudu. Wild monkey, don't look down on me, Mr. Gudu. Golden binding technique. Seeing Raditz and Nappa preemptively strike, Gudu was actually already prepared. Indeed, in real combat ability, he is not as good as warrior, and he may not even be able to do basic combat. But his superpowers have already been practiced to the point where he can do whatever he wants. Without the slightest pause or delay, he came up with a big move. A strange force was released by Gudu, directly imprisoning Raditz and Nappa in the space at the same time, immobilized. The body can't move. Damn, it's this trick. Damn it, how could it be activated so quickly? Raditz and Nappa felt aggrieved to the extreme because they had strength but were unable to exert it. I planned to suppress Gudu by surprise, and didn't give him a chance to display his superpowers. How could he have imagined that Gudu's method of using superpowers would be so fast? Hey. Wild monkeys, just now I saw that you were quite proud, why? Are you scared now? I want to torture you well, starting with your big bald head. Gudu walked away with malicious intentions. Arriving in front of Nappa, a smug smile appeared on his face. It was you who said just now, as long as you are careful about my superpowers, you won't be controlled by me. Now, do you still dare to say such big words? Gudu began his revenge. Of course, his revenge wasn't really that terrible. Because his means are limited to this. In the final analysis, it is nothing more than the horror of superpowers, which can stop time and restrain the existence of weak combat power. Attacking skills also use superpowers, as in the original book, light eyes, simple energy attacks, and superpower control objects, while controlling the enemy, use objects to deal fatal blows to the enemy. Today, Goku uses light eyes to torture. Because the golden binding technique controls the enemy, the light eyes that are not powerful enough to kill can continuously destroy a person's spirit and body. Here, the situation is like this. On the other side, Vegeta had cold sweat on his forehead, looked at Raditz and Nappa who couldn't move, wanted to make a move, but couldn't. Opposite him, the enemy is standing. What he had to face was Li, who was much more terrifying than Goku, and he had no time to care about Raditz and Nappa. You two, just ask for blessings now, gritting his teeth, Vegeta just diverted his attention for a moment, but the moment he came back to his senses, he found that Li had disappeared in front of him. Hi! Little Vegeta, I'm here. Nanny! Without realizing it, Li teleported behind Vegeta. This made Vegeta break out in cold sweat, and in just an instant, Vegeta became a tower of tragedy. Li kicked Vegeta's back fiercely, and the terrifying force directly sent Vegeta into the sky. The severe pain made Vegeta gasp, his face grim. Rao is the current him, after being attacked by Li, he has to do his best to relieve it. Vegeta hadn't thought about it yet, this kick was just Li's casual attack. The difference in combat power is too big, before it exceeds 100,000. No. Before the combat power exceeds 50,000, the difference in combat power of 3 to 5,000 points can be quite obvious. Not to mention, Vegeta's current combat power is only 28,000 points, while Li's combat power is as high as a little over 40,000. Ha 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 ha. Is that all you can do, Vegeta? I heard that you killed Dodoria and Sabo, but now it seems that Dales with 45,000 combat power over there killed them, right? Li said his way satirizes Vegeta. Although it's stupid to mock, it has to be said that it is really useful. Stop getting carried away. Li, do you really think that I'm afraid of you? Vegeta's heart burst with arrogance, and he folded his hands. With one move, the Galactic cannon descended from the sky and directly attacked Li. Seeing this, the madness on Li's face was revealed, completely ignoring Vegeta's energy attack. He just bent his body and waved his arms violently. Pound! The seemingly destructive Galactic cannon was directly thrown into the sky. On the other side of the battlefield, as the strongest of the four Scions, Dales is ready to face Keith and Bart. 1-on-2, Dales didn't show panic either. He doesn't make low-level mistakes that allow opponents to take advantage of them. For just a brief moment, he took the initiative to attack during the confrontation. Unlike ordinary people, breaking with stillness, after all, 1 against 2. He chose tough means to attack with all his strength to seize the initiative in the battle. Naturally, he believed too much in his own strength. Firstly, his strength is enhanced by the help of spiritual fruit, although he absorbed this power during the time in Galaxy Prison and can fully exert it. However, he ignored the strength of the enemy. The fighting strength of Bart and Geese are both 45,000 points, even faintly exceeding this limit. Moreover, Geese and Bart are still partners all the year round, and the tacit cooperation is not comparable to ordinary people. Bart, it's really amazing to be able to play such a fighting level, but today your life is at the end. Geese, if you weren't Scion, maybe Captain Jinyu would invite you to be one of us again, what a pity, wild monkey. Boom. Pound. The two hit together and instantly exerted their full strength. Not only shocked Dales, but also gave Dales a serious injury, knocking him out. Chapter 44. Fighting is in a one-sided situation. Goku has abused Raditz and Nappa. Although both of them are experienced in many battles, they can't take advantage of Goku's control. Not to mention attacking Goku, even if you want to guarantee your freedom of movement, you can't do it. In just a short time, the two of them were seriously injured, almost dying. On the other side, Li also abused Vegeta completely, playing with Vegeta in the palm of his hand. Whether it's hand-to-hand combat or energy warfare, how can Vegeta be their opponent? Vegeta, who was beaten to pieces, no longer had that arrogance at this time. It is true that his strength has increased, and he can crush some existences that once suppressed him. But in the face of a more powerful master, such as Li, he can't do it even if he resists, let alone take advantage of it and hurt the opponent. Dale's end. Compared to Raditz, Nappa and Vegeta, he is more uncomfortable. Ego dealt him a fatal blow. With 1 against 2, he thought he was strong enough to crush Jinyu's men. As a result, those who were abused had no power to fight back. 1-on-1 might not be an opponent, let alone 1-on-2. He became a toy for Keith and Bart. In the dark, watching the progress of this battle. Only a few minutes passed, but the battle seemed to be over. It's really boring. After my strength has improved, watching this kind of battle will look like watching a child's playhouse. Lin Li felt hard to keep his eyes down as he said to himself. Combat is too cumbersome, there are too many useless actions, not to mention flaws, there are too many to count. If it were him, these problems would never arise. Of course, it was the current him who looked at this level of battle, so he came up with this idea. Lin Li also had a different emotion. He began to understand why Frieza didn't shoot early in the book. To be honest, if it were him now, he would definitely not make a move. Because it's unnecessary and pointless. How can a person care about a few ants crawling around? With a combat power of over 1,000,000, how could he care about a few ants whose combat power is less than 100,000? From the very beginning, Frieza never paid any attention to any existence. Later, as the strength of the enemy continued to increase, he gradually raised his enthusiasm. To put it bluntly, even if Son Goku appeared in the original book, and then Kaioken was used, it was only slightly interesting to Frieza. Later, Son Goku became Super Saiyan, which completely changed the situation. While thinking, Lin Li raised his head. Squinting his eyes slightly, he muttered, "Finally, are we going to arrive? Really, it's just right." Universe. Jake and Tice, who were on standby on the spaceship, suddenly discovered a universe ship with the logo of the capsule company. "Oh. Tice, if I remember correctly, this seems to be the logo of the company opened by your parents on Earth, right? It seems to be some kind of capsule company." Jake glanced at the tower next to him. ISS asked. "That's right. It's the logo of Universal Capsule Company. Could it be Bulma?" Tice was surprised for a while. She knew through the communicator not long ago that Bulma was going to the Namek ball. Now that she saw this universe ship, the first thing she thought of was none other than her sister Bulma. Of course, if she knew that her sister Bulma was already on the Namek ball, how would she feel? She wants to go. But Bulma wanted to find a way to leave. The universe ship passed through the surface of Namek's atmosphere, and the momentum it brought was huge. After all, it is the first universe ship independently developed by the Earth in the true sense. Compared with the universe ship of the Frieza army in all aspects, it is far behind. Jake deliberately recorded the appearance of the universe ship, and then, ignoring Tice's self-talk, quickly walked away and went to the cockpit to hide. He was really afraid that Tice would bother him again and asked her to send him to the Namek ball. For him, that was really too dangerous. In particular, his detectors continuously detect that powerful forces are erupting. If they go down and are caught, they will die. Namek on the ball. The universe ship fell from the sky, and it was a coincidence that it landed at a position about 100 kilometers away from the battlefield. Whose universe ship is that? Gudu, who was just about to deal with Raditz and Nappa, noticed the appearance of the universe ship and exclaimed at the same time. For a moment, everyone also shifted their gazes. Among them, Raditz and Nappa are already dying, but they still maintain their rational existence. On the other side, Vegeta, who was crushed to the point where he couldn't even stand up, had a little time to breathe because Likum no longer continued to suppress him. No. Not the enemy's reinforcements, nor Galaxy Patrolman. This anger, could it be Kakarot, that guy? Kakarot. Sounds like your scion's name. What a reckless guy, dare to show up. Wouldn't it be better to hide in a corner of the universe obediently? He must come to die. Likum didn't think so. Said. As everyone knows, the arrival of Scion this time will make him unforgettable forever. Just as Likum was about to crush Vegeta again, a figure suddenly fell from the sky. This person hit the ground heavily, disturbing Likum, forming a huge crater nearly 10 meters wide. When the gunpowder smoke cleared, Dale's embarrassed figure was slowly revealed. His injuries were better than Vegeta's, but he was also covered in scars. Under the joint onslaught of Bart and Geese, he was almost exhausted and lost the ability to fight. Damn Jinnu team! Dale's body trembled, his heart was filled with unwillingness, and the words in his mouth were still very hard. All plans, all ideas, come to naught. He was slapped hard by reality. He is too arrogant, thinking that his strength has greatly increased, and he can ignore the warrior of the Jinnu team. Bart and Geese fell from the sky and landed on the edge of Dale's pothole, and the two looked down on Dales, who was already bruised and bruised. Hey hey hey! I said you two, why are you interrupting my battle? I ate a layer of ashes. Liam complained dissatisfiedly to his two companions. Keith and Bart obviously didn't care, talking at the same time. What does it matter? Anyway, we have to fight together, and we just leave Vegeta alive. Just give Vegeta to King Frieza, and we won't take the credit for dealing with him. Chapter 45. After a few quarrels, Liam stopped talking to Keith and Bart. In the team, he himself is a burly man who can't speak. He also knew that Keith and Bart would not take advantage of him. For a long time, each of them only cared about their own achievements, and would not create something out of nothing, or even rob others of their hard work. So, are you guys going to kill this Saiyan monkey first, or should I go first and make Vegeta half dead? Liam asked. Who will start first? Do I still need to ask? I think Vegeta is almost there, right? With such an injury, there is no threat. Geese said. Get rid of this Dales first. Didn't you promise that guy Gudu to tease Vegeta for him? It's really troublesome. Bart was a little annoyed. This time the battle is considered to be over. It doesn't make any sense to continue. Originally, they were just here to play. Even if the enemy's combat power can match them, they will not say to the enemy that one-on-one is fair. Moreover, once he and Geese join forces, they will become one. Otherwise, the name of the invincible combination of red and blue would not be left behind. Listening to Liam, Keith, and Bart's conversation, Dales and Vegeta, who were defeated, were very annoyed. But even so, there was nothing he could do. The gap in strength between them and them is too great. Hateful. Damn. Vegeta and Dales, each with their own ideas. But no matter how many thoughts there are at this time, what's the use? Geese, come on. It's time to meet death, Saiyan monkey. Bart, let us use the red and blue light balls famous in the universe to kill you completely. The moment the words fell, the two condensed enormous power. Just when they were about to finish Dales off. Suddenly, a dazzling white light galloped from a distance. Break through the space and land on the island with lightning speed. With such a speed, an invisible super coercion was brought about, sweeping in all directions, deterring everyone present. The one who came was, without a doubt, Son Goku. It really is you. Kakarot. Seeing Son Goku, who was thinking about it, Vegeta didn't have any hope. However, the other party still came at this time, which made him feel that Kakarot at least still has the blood of Saiyan. Although they used to be enemies, but Saiyan remains the same. On the other end, Raditz, who was knocking on the door with death, turned his head with difficulty. Ka. Lo. T. You came. It's really, the time. Nappa, but... Damn. I didn't expect that in the end, it was because of you, for a while. Kakarot. As the low and intermittent voice continued to enter his ears, Son Goku, who had just arrived, was immediately stunned. Although I already felt the anger of these people when I was on the universe ship before. But it's not clear what the situation is. Seeing the current situation now directly impacted his spirit. In particular, he saw a Saiyan who looked exactly like himself. You, who are you? Why do you have the same face as mine? Son Goku rubbed his eyes, trying to make sure it was real. Kakarot, I didn't expect to meet on such an occasion. Looking at the face in front of him that was exactly the same as his own, Dales felt a lot of emotions in his heart. Originally, if Lin Li hadn't caught him, he would have gone to Earth to find Kakarot after planting the spiritual tree. Unexpectedly, things developed to this point. You know me too, although I don't know what's going on? But, looking at you now, a lot of things should have happened. Although it was strange, Son Goku didn't go into it. At this moment, his simplicity of mind contributed to his composure. I won't think too much at the first time, let alone lose focus. He knows who the enemy is. Undoubtedly, it was the four guys in combat suits. Cut. You are also Saiyan, and you are also a companion of these guys. If so, then be bound by me together. Golden binding technique. Gudu turned around and took the lead in attacking Son Goku. For him, Son Goku has already kept an eye on him. Especially when he saw Raditz and Nappa imprisoned in a strange field, unable to move and feel uncomfortable, he directly recalled the superpower of Dumpling when he was in the world's #1 martial arts competition. At the moment when Gudu just finished speaking and raised his hand, Son Goku's eyes changed drastically, and he acted one step ahead. An aurora passed by Gudu, and Son Goku arrived behind Gudu without anyone noticing. Before Gudu realized what was going on, he suddenly felt his eyes go dark, and at the moment of severe pain, his consciousness passed out. The speed of this instant eruption once again shocked everyone. It should be noted that the combat power of those present is more than 30,000 to 40,000. This speed, this strength, how did his strength increase so much? Vegeta exclaimed, with his eyesight, he didn't even catch a single afterimage. His combat power has already reached nearly 30,000 points. Even if he is seriously injured now and has lost his mobility. But he is only so powerful, why is Kakarot stronger than him? After recovering from the injuries on Earth, his strength has greatly increased. In terms of blood, he shouldn't lose to Kakarot. Because of Gudu's coma, Raditz and Nappa also got rid of the shackles of the golden binding technique at the same time. It can be said that they have the heart to cry. From the beginning of the battle to the present, they have not broken free at all. Constantly being ravaged by Gudu, it was horrible in the end. My body, I can finally move. Raditz regained his ability to move, and for the sake of face, he forcibly gritted his teeth to keep his body from falling down. In front of this younger brother, he also has his own dignity. Kakarot. I didn't expect to be saved by you. Nappa looked at Son Goku in front of him, feeling mixed feelings in his heart. He was still an enemy 2 months ago, and today we meet again, but the other party saved him. At this moment, a huge turning point is taking place in Nappa's heart. He recalled the situation 2 months ago, and finally realized that if he hadn't been lucky and was rescued by Lin Li, he would have died long ago. Chapter 46. Gudu fell, and the situation changed suddenly. Son Goku not only became hope, but also managed to divert the attention of Likum, Keith, and Bart. That guy Gudu, did you get rid of it so easily? It seems that before dealing with these scions, it is necessary to kill you first. Likum spat out a mouthful of saliva and stared at him with extremely angry eyes. With Son Goku. Although, people like them don't have too much emotion, let alone be bound by so-called friendship. However, Gudu is a member of their Jinnu team anyway. To be killed just like that made him feel ashamed. Do you have any enmity with Scion? Do you want to die? Pineapple Head. Son Goku asked with a stern expression. He didn't care about Likum's threat. Because he could feel that even though Likum's strength was very strong, it was much worse than the current him. Humph. You Scion monkeys are just our playthings. You are not worthy of enmity with us. Likum smiled cruelly, raised his hands high, and released all the energy in his body. Dare to call me Pineapple Head? You have already sentenced yourself to death. Vegeta, who had fought against Likum, was shocked. Not only did he know the strength of the opponent, but he also understood that Likum was more terrifying now than before. He was seriously injured and unable to move, so he could only use his voice to remind Son Goku, get out of the way. Kakarot. This guy's combat strength exceeds 40,000. Once he is hit, he will. Before Vegeta finished speaking, Likum couldn't help laughing. The unscrupulous expression was crazy to the extreme. It seems that Likum has mastered the absolute crushing power. Vegeta still understands me. I can tell you that my combat power has reached 44,000 points. With all my strength, even Geese and Bart can't stop me. Likum yelled in his rough throat. The strength continued to gather, and he also stayed in place without moving. Seeing this, Son Goku narrowed his eyes and struck out instantly. No talking, let alone procrastination. This blow is like a meteorite hitting the vital point of the planet. Boom. A bang. Son Goku's elbow embedded in Likum's stomach. In just an instant, Likum felt fatal pain. In the next second, not only did the breath wither, but the consciousness of the whole person was drifting away. You actually, sneak attack. Bloodshot eyes were all over Likum's body, and he collapsed directly to the ground. Another blow, instant kill. As strong as Likum, they were all killed by Son Goku in one blow, which stunned the 4 Scions present and the Jinnu team Keith and Bart. This. Kakarot, how did he do it? Raditz couldn't describe his mood. His strength has improved a lot compared to when we met 2 months ago. He is several levels stronger than Vegeta. Nappa said with his mouth wide open. The weakest of them can only have this idea. What about Vegeta? He was so shocked that he couldn't speak, and his heart was full of turmoil. Having been brutalized by Likum, he knew the terror of the other party. Now that Likum is killed with one blow, it is enough to prove that Son Goku has continuously surpassed Sion's limit. In the simplest terms, he has left his Sion prince far behind. He's just a junior warrior. How could it be possible to be so strong? What is going on? As the strongest of the 4 Sion young masters, Dales gritted his teeth and thought to himself. Just now, he vaguely saw Son Goku's trajectory. At the same time, I also saw how terrible Son Goku's super heavy blow was, which completely destroyed Likum. Even if the other party does not die, he can only be a useless person in this life. Bart, damn it, what did this guy Likum do? He was killed all at once. Geese, what is the combat effectiveness of that guy? Geese, I want to know too. The detector seems to be malfunctioning just now, and this guy's combat power shows only 5,000 points. Bart, what? Who? Sounded. With their communication, Son Goku has come to them without anyone noticing. This speed, this intimidating aura made them immediately think of Captain Jinyu. The two of them tensed up, and in the next second, they attacked without thinking. Bang! There was a muffled sound. It wasn't that Bart and Geese's attack hit Son Goku, but Bart was sent flying into the sky by Son Goku's kick. Under Geese's horrified gaze, Son Goku rushed out again, turned into a dazzling white light, and caught up with Bart who was flying upside down. Another heavy kick. The power of the blow directly shattered the armor on Bart's back. Bart, who fell from the sky, fell in front of Keith, twitching on the spot. Although there is still a little consciousness, but has lost the ability to move. Hey. This kind of joke isn't funny at all. Kiston's red skin was covered with cold sweat, and he hurriedly traced Son Goku's whereabouts. Suddenly, an afterimage flashed in front of Keith's eyes, and Son Goku teleported to him, and punched out with full strength. Bang! There was a thrilling sound of piercing into the flesh and it exploded. Keith's internal organs were severely attacked, blood spurted out of his mouth, his hands tightly covered his abdomen, and he knelt on his knees, his pupils trembling violently. The consciousness is still there, but no matter how great the power is, it can't be used at all. I thought the strength of you guys would be very powerful, but it turns out that it's just lip service. Looking at Geese, who was no longer able to fight, Son Goku showed disappointment on his face. Covering his painful abdomen with his hands, Geese trembled all over his body, and shouted with the last of his strength, "You, who the hell are you? The fighting power is only 5,000. How could it be so strong?" Puff. Before he finished speaking, Geese fell to the ground after spitting out blood because of his serious injuries. With the fall of Geese, the quartet of the Jinyu team was completely wiped out. The 4 young masters of Sion were stunned, beyond words. Even Lin Li, who was invisible not far away, was extremely surprised. This is much more vigorous and resolute than the original work. Moreover, the original book is because Kling and Son Gohan were suppressed miserably, so Son Goku came up and fought with the Jinyu team. Now it's him doing it for Sion. Chapter 47. The situation can be said to have undergone a huge turning point. The 4 members of the Jinyu team were all wiped out, and the 4 young masters of Sion were in a daze. Kakarot, how did he do it? The guys in the Jinyu team were so easily disintegrated by him. Difficult, can it be said? Vegeta thought of a possibility, and his pupils shrank sharply. The look of shock could not be suppressed at all. Impossible. As far as I know, Kakarot, you are just a low-level warrior. Even if you practice for a long time, it is impossible to have this kind of strength. Dales walked out of the pothole tremblingly. With unbelievable eyes, he kept looking up and down at Son Goku. It stands to reason that Raditz, Son Goku, and him all have the same blood flowing through them. Why is the gap so huge? Raditz has always been an ant. Now even if the combat power is as high as 8,000 points, it is still an ant. Dales, to be honest, was an ant before he had the spirit tree, but he became stronger after having the spirit tree. Now, he can only think that Son Goku has an adventure, or something better than him, so he is so strong. He doesn't believe it, with the same blood, he is not as good as Son Goku. Faced with Dale's remarks, Son Goku obviously didn't take it seriously. Sion is proud of each other, even if he explains it, he will not believe it if he has not experienced it. Although I don't know the current situation. But, you can appear here, it should have something to do with Lin Li and the Galaxy Patrol. Before, I sensed Lin Li's aura, but it disappeared quickly. He must be somewhere in the planet, right? Or, you are now obeying him. While talking, Son Goku took out the Senbien from his pocket. These are 4 fairy beans. Although we were enemies before, now, I think the real enemy should not be each other. Now that we have met, I will not stand idly by you. Son Goku threw the 4 fairy beans one by one. Coming to Namek this time, just in case, he brought all the Senbeans left from Karan-sama. Although most of it has been consumed on the way, there are still several. He probably knew the situation of the Namek ball through King Kai before, so he also knew that it would be difficult to defeat the Frieza army with his own strength. But with Vegeta, with Raditz, with Nappa, and a scion who looks exactly like me, it should work. Vegeta, Raditz, Nappa, and that guy who looks exactly like me, eat this. This is a fairy bean, something that belongs to our earth. Just eat one, it can not only fill your stomach, but also heal your injuries. As long as you don't die, you can fully recover. After speaking, Son Goku stared at the 4 of them. The 4 of them took the fairy beans one after another, and fell into deep thought as they looked at the little green bean in their hands. Of course, this meditation was only for a moment. Because they don't need to doubt, and they don't have the qualifications to think more. If Kakarot really wanted to do something to them, would he still need to waste his time? Raditz took the first step and ate it without any hesitation. As soon as the fairy beans entered the belly, the magical effects spread, and Raditz's body swelled visible to the naked eye. Not only did the injury heal quickly in a short period of time, but the aura of the whole body broke through the limit in one breath after returning to its peak. Features of Scion erupted. My body. Feeling the changes in himself, Raditz was too shocked to speak. His fighting power has completely surpassed his peak period, at least, it has increased several times. The momentum surged, giving Raditz a feeling that if he faced the Jinnu team again, he would be able to defeat them by himself. Seeing Raditz recovering from his injury and greatly increasing in strength, the shock in the hearts of the other 3 Scion Masters was indescribable. Looking at the little bean in his hand, he swallowed it into his stomach without any hesitation. When the fairy beans enter the stomach, the effect is like eating Raditz, and it will be exerted in an instant. How inconceivable the wonderful changes in the body are. The physical body became stronger, the aura returned to its peak, and at the same time broke the original boundaries. After recovering from serious injuries, Scion's combat power will inevitably increase dramatically. It applies to anyone. Everyone's strength has recovered from this serious injury, and they have made a qualitative leap. Even the weakest Nepal, at least now, has a combat power of more than 20,000. More than 20,000, can be compared with the previous Vegeta. My body, my strength, this. Vegeta, who felt the change in his body, felt unspeakable excitement in his heart. Now he feels that he can even beat everyone in the Jinya team violently, including Jinyu. His strength, to say the least, is several times stronger than before. If Likum fights him again, he can even be sure that he can kill him with one blow like Kakarot. The thing that heals the injury, not only restores the injury, but also stimulates the hidden ability of our Scion. No wonder your strength can be improved so much. As the strength surpassed the peak state and became so much stronger in one breath, Dale showed a smile on his face. With a characteristic grim smile. He stood up and stood in front of Son Goku. Staring at Son Goku in front of him with a smile on his face, this younger brother with whom he has a long history. Son Goku looked at Dales, also lost in thought and shock. Saying that Raditz is his eldest brother, I am afraid no one will believe it. But anyone would believe him if he was his eldest brother. It was drawn out of the exact same template. Who are you? Could it be that it's also mine? Before Son Goku could finish speaking, Raditz grabbed the right to speak. Kakarot, that guy is an artificial Scion. Strictly speaking, he is an artificial human created by our father through genetic technology. He has the same blood as ours. Explained, but it made Dales unhappy. He was targeted. Humph. Meddling guy. Dales said angrily. Although I don't quite understand what it means, but you should be my only relative in this world, besides the big brother Raditz. Son Goku's mind can only come to this conclusion. Understand it as you like. Dales turned away after hearing this, not wanting to talk to Son Goku. Tell me your name. Son Goku pressed. Dales. After getting the answer, Son Goku wanted to say something, but finally hesitated for a moment and did not speak. Then, through his own keen perception, Son Goku noticed something again, and subconsciously looked towards a certain place. At this moment, Lin Li quietly appeared here. And, looking at them with a smile on their face. Damn it! I knew you were around all the time. Just now we were beaten like that and didn't shoot. Did you want us to die? Dales was furious, but helpless. Even though his own strength has improved a lot, he has become more cautious now after going through so much. Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz gritted their teeth and clenched their fists simultaneously. Now their only feeling is that they have been tricked and used. Tisk tisk. Aren't you all right? You learn a lot from a fall. Don't expect someone to save you in the dark at any time in the future. I'm here to help you grow faster. Lin Li's eyes he squinted slightly, with a mocking expression on his face. Then he diverted his attention and said to Son Goku, Yo! Son Goku, we meet again. Sure enough, you're here. It's been a long time. It's the same as I guessed just now. Their appearance is related to you. Looking at Lin Li, Son Goku didn't care what he and Vegeta said, and his face showed smile. I'll talk about some things later. Last time you were on Earth, you asked your elder brother. Now he is here, so you should cherish it. Lin Li changed the subject and let them turn their attention back. That's right, I really want to say something. Son Goku muttered to himself, then looked at Raditz again. At this time, Raditz also looked at Kakarot. The four eyes met, especially awkward. The five young masters of Sion gathered together. Lin Li turned his attention to the quartet of the Jinnu team who was in a coma. There is no doubt that Son Goku didn't kill him, they just passed out. Taking out the handcuffs in his hand, Lin Li started his catching. Congratulations to the host for successfully capturing the Frieza Army Jinnu Team Gudu. Reward, combat power increased by 12,000 points, skill, light eye. Congratulations to the host for successfully capturing Frieza Army Jinnu Squad Likum. Reward, combat power increased by 44,000 points, skill, mouth laser cannon. Congratulations to the host for successfully capturing Frieza Army Jinnu Squad Geese. Reward obtained, combat power increased by 45,000 points, skill, destroy the light ball. Congratulations to the host for successfully capturing Frieza Army Jinnu Squad Bart. Reward, combat power increased by 45,000 points, skill, Comet Flash Fist. Ding! Trigger System Capture Mission, Frieza Army Jinnu Team, Jinnu/Bait/Geese/Likum/Gudu, Task Completion Rewards, Combat Power randomly increased by 10,000 to 1 million, This is... Seeing the display of system tasks, Lin Li felt extremely surprised and excited. Chapter 48 System Capture Task, Frieza Army Jinnu Team, Jinnu/Bart/Geese/Likum/Gudu. Task Completion Reward 1, Combat Power is randomly increased by 10,000 to 1 million. Task Completion Reward 2, Awakening Super Saiyan First Stage. The task of capturing the Jinnu Team, as long as it is completed, can not only increase the combat effectiveness of 1 to 1 million. The most important thing is that you can awaken your own Super Saiyan blood. What does it mean? You know, anyone who travels to the world of Dragon Ball will definitely want to transform into Super Saiyan. This is faith, this is pursuit. After transforming, the strength may be mediocre, but it doesn't matter, the main thing is that he is handsome. Of course, the strength will not be strong? Of course not. The strength increase of the first stage of Super Saiyan is 50 times of normal. Calculated based on January 5 million points of combat power, if Lin Li can transform into Super Saiyan now, his combat power can soar to 75 million points in a straight line. Even if it is not as good as Frieza's 120 million ultimate combat power. However, this is all secondary. As long as he can transform, it means that he has absolute reliance. In this era, it has risen in the true sense. This mission, it really is about time. The remaining Jinnu must find a chance to catch them. The free reward, can you not have it? If you don't, you will really be struck by lightning. Slowly, Lin Li's mood calmed down. 1.5 million points of battle power, which has already soared to 1,646,000 points because of the capture of the members of the Jinnu team. Of course, Lin Li doesn't care about this improvement at all. Lin Li sent them into a portable cage. Instead, he was about to talk to Son Goku, when suddenly, the communicator rang. Take it out and listen, it's bad news. The liaison station of the Galactic Patrol on the Ball of Namek was discovered by 20 soldiers of the Frieza Legion. Now, the Galaxy Patrol over there is trying to resist. Even if there are gold medal patrolmen, the gold medal patrolmen in the Namek Ball are not high combat power. Myers indirectly handed over the management of this contact station to him, because of his strength, he is the strongest among the patrolmen here. I see. Hold on until I come back. Giving the answer, Lin Li took a deep breath. Unexpectedly, there would be an accident at the contact station, and Lin Li also thought that perhaps too many soldiers were captured, so Frieza has been arranging soldiers to look for the station of the Galaxy Patrol. Exercising the flying technique to lift off slowly, Lin Li knew that no time should be wasted. As for Jinyu, there are still opportunities ahead. If it is really breached over there, not only the arrested people will be released, but he will also have to take responsibility. Noticing that Lin Li was leaving, Son Goku turned around suddenly, followed him, and said, "Wait Lin Li, I still have something to ask you. You are on this planet, I think you should know Bulma and news about my son Son Gohan?" "Oh, and Krillin." Son Goku was very anxious, obviously, he was afraid that something bad happened to them. "As for your son and Bulma and Krillin, don't worry, I let them stay in a safe place early in the morning." Lin Li replied with a nod. Hearing this, Son Goku breathed a sigh of relief. "Great, with your protection, I don't worry at all." Without worrying about this aspect, Son Goku changed the subject again. "I know too little about the things on the Namek Ball now. If you say it, you will never lie to me, so I want to know what the current situation is like." Hearing Son Goku's question, Lin Li naturally didn't intend to communicate with him in detail. Simply, he threw all the questions to Sion Fourth Young Master. "If you want to know, they will tell you. I still have a task, so I have to go back. In addition, you have to pay attention, you just defeated the members of the Jinya team, and their captain Jinyu should come to the door soon. His strength is much stronger than the guys you defeated. Finally, I would like to remind you that the members of the Jinya team, including Jinyu, each have a very unique ability. If one is not careful, he will die without a place to die." After Lin Li gave Son Goku a last word, he didn't stay any longer and left angrily. "On this planet, besides Frieza, is there such a strong existence? It's so exciting." Son Goku clenched his fists excitedly. For a powerful existence, he can't help burning his fighting spirit. Raising his strength to this level, he is eager to fight against powerful opponents all the time. Even Master King Kai will still hit him, but he doesn't care. It is what he desperately desires to have a comparable opponent. Although your strength has improved a lot, don't get carried away too much Kakarot, it's just wishful thinking to challenge Frieza with your current strength. Now you are nothing more than defeating Jinyu's subordinates. According to my understanding, Jinyu's combat power should have exceeded 120,000. Seeing Son Goku's smug look, Vegeta couldn't help wanting to strike. "Is it more than 120,000? I don't know how much my fighting power is now." Vegeta's warning, not only failed to dispel Son Goku's thoughts, but aroused his fighting spirit even more. Raditz and Nappa on the side looked at Son Goku like this, feeling very uncomfortable with mixed feelings in their hearts. The kid who was not even as strong as them back then has now become the strongest scion among them. Even, it is the strongest ever. Unlike the others, the corners of Dale's mouth were slightly up and down, and a smug smile appeared on his face. Now that the strength of several of them has been improved to a certain extent, it would be great if they could use Kakarot's hand to get rid of Jinyu. Meanwhile, Frieza's stronghold. Jinyu returns with 6 Dragon Balls. Seeing this, Frieza was overjoyed and forgot about Sion. He regretted it a little now. If he had brought Jinyu earlier, there wouldn't be so many troubles. Ho 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 ho. Hearing this, Jinyu did not hesitate. This subordinate will go and bring back the last remaining Dragon Ball for King Frieza. No, no, no. Don't be so anxious. The detectors just now showed that the fighting power of the other members of the Jinyu team has declined rapidly. It seems that your lovely subordinates seem to have been killed. Nani? Hearing Frieza's reminder, Jinyu was shocked. He was so excited just now that he didn't pay attention. He hurriedly used his combat power detector to detect the situation of other combat members. As Frieza said, everyone in the Jinyu team lost their signal except him. Chapter 49. Frieza Corps, Namek Ball stationed in the base camp. As Frieza reminded Jinyu's mind was confused. How could this be? With their fighting strength, they are more than enough to deal with those scions, and there will be absolutely no mistakes. In the end, what's going on? Could it be that there are still powerful characters with shielding devices on their bodies, but they haven't been found? Jinyu immediately explained and guessed. He was a little reluctant to believe it, but he had to accept it. It should be the very few Galactic Patrolmen behind Vegeta. Although, the Galactic Patrolmen haven't seen them all these years, and they don't have any powerful characters. But, you can't be too careless, Jinyu. Although it is because of your mistake that caused Sion to take advantage again, and also caused the king to lose several capable officers. However, for the sake of you bringing me the Dragon Ball, I will not blame you this time. Now, you've got to do it yourself, and take out Vegeta and the Galactic Patrolman, every last one left. Frieza's indifferent words fell, making Kinuden feel a lot of pressure. King Frieza, is Vegeta not even alive now? Jinyu asked. Humph. Since you calculated this king like that, and once again let this king suffer, he shouldn't continue to live in this world. As Frieza's words fell, Jinyu already knew what to do. He is well aware of Frieza's character. If this mission fails, whether he can live is another matter. At least his position as Captain Jinyu is at the end. The subordinate obeys the order, and promises to kill all the scions and the Galaxy Patrol, and the last Dragon Ball, the subordinate will also personally present it to you. Not daring to neglect in the slightest, Jinyu rushed towards the battlefield violently. Looking at Jinyu going away, although Frieza's expression remained calm, he felt vaguely uneasy in his heart. Hope, don't let me down. Galaxy Patrol. When this king fulfills his wish, it's time to settle with you. At that time, this king will be the real emperor of the universe. Meanwhile, Lin Li has returned to the contact station. With vigorous measures, all the Frieza soldiers who came to attack were defeated and captured. The 20 incoming enemies provided Lin Li with 104,000 points of combat power. It can be seen that this is a relatively elite unit in the Frieza Legion. Lin Li's combat power has increased again, reaching 1.75 million points. After sorting out the battle situation and giving the Galaxy Patrolman at the contact station some breathing time, Lin Li arranged some guarding matters, and then resumed his action. It should be said that for the existence of Lin Li, everyone has been convinced and regarded as the leader. Even the Gold Medal Patrolman is no exception. The merits are there, especially Lin Li's strength is still so strong. This is not comparable to ordinary Gold Medal Patrolman. Even the captain of the patrol, there are only a few as strong as Lin Li. Let me ask, who can deal with the Frieza army in such a short period of time and achieve such great results? Go to the rest room at the end of the contact station. Lin Li found Bulma sitting on the stone. Seeing Bulma alone with a sad face, her thoughts drifting away, and her little feet kicking pebbles, I don't know what she is thinking. Son Gohan and Kling also disappeared and their whereabouts are unknown. What's wrong? Our beautiful talented girl is in trouble at this time. Lin Li walked over jokingly. Usually I don't want to see Bulma, because this woman is very pestering. But now, Lin Li has to find him because Son Goku is here. Tell her and make her worry less too. Come on, maybe in your heart, I'm just a little woman who annoys you, otherwise, you wouldn't just ignore me. Lin Li returned, and Bulma rolled his eyes and responded. To be honest, after more than 2 months after being out, she already had the heart to go back. She just wanted to quickly end the things here and go home quickly, at least to live her carefree life. For Lin Li, she was also very excited at the beginning, and then slowly cooled down the enthusiasm in the end. I used to have a good impression and interest in Lin Li. Firstly, it was because of frustrated feelings and Yamcha was unreliable. After talking with a partner for several years, on and off many times, finally I couldn't stand Yamcha's flirting with women while flattering her. The second aspect is that Lin Li is not to mention handsome, he is also a Galaxy Patrol, powerful, and helps the Earth to survive the catastrophe. Now, Lin Li doesn't seem to be interested in him at all after being rejected several times. This made Bulma very disappointed, and even developed a kind of hatred for Lin Li. The resentful appearance is that of a little girl. As a time traveler, Lin Li is not a beginner, so he naturally knows what the woman is thinking. Nothing more than, I just want to hear something nice, and want to be coaxed by others. If I thought you were annoying, then I wouldn't come to you as soon as I came back. Although I came to you because of something, it was for your sake. Facing Bulma, Lin Li said something against her will but sincerely. Against his will, Bulma can be really annoying sometimes. But the truth is that a lot of arrangements, even restricting the actions of Bulma and others, are for safety considerations and caring about her. After hearing Lin Li's words, Bulma cheered up a little. Don't think I'm so easy to coax. This talented and beautiful girl is not a little girl who just stepped into society on the side of the road, and she was fooled by you casually. Come on, you came to see me, what's the matter? Bulma was very direct, which was beyond Lin Li's expectation. Bulma is sometimes too selfish, but at critical times, he is still very reliable. Before this, why are you here alone? Where did Gohan and Kellen go? Lin Li asked. He accompanied Son Gohan and Kellen back before, and told them to stay here temporarily and not run around. After all, the situation is gradually deteriorating now, and it is beginning to develop towards the later stage of the original plot. Who knows? The two of them left shortly after you left with the Dragon Ball radar and a Namek kid named Dende. Bulma said with a look on my face that I didn't care and didn't know anything. I see. Hearing this, Lin Li had a guess in his heart. Those two guys must have gone out to try their luck again, wondering if there was a chance to steal the Dragon Ball from Sion. Unfortunately, the situation is changing rapidly, and the remaining Dragon Ball has been given to Frieza by Kenny. It's not easy to get it. I hope these two guys won't make any big troubles. After all, Frieza and the others have already been played by Vegeta and the others once, so they must be more vigilant. Also, I have captured all of the Jinyut team, leaving only Jinyut as the captain. Frieza is now like a waking lion. After thinking about it, Lin Li blamed Son Gohan and Kellen's excessive boldness on the Great Elder's development of their potential. Inflated strength, overconfidence. If I knew this would happen, I shouldn't have come to Namek with them in the first place. Common people like me are asking for trouble when they come here. This is where Bulma broke down. Following her words, Lin Li probably guessed what she was planning. In the next second, Lin Li's guess was also verified. Lin Li, you Galaxy Patrol, there should be a lot of extra universe ships, right? Or, can you ask one of your colleagues to escort me back to Earth? I promise. As long as you send me away, I will never cause trouble. Besides, if you want me to help you in the future, I will definitely not refuse. Bulma showed a pitiful look, wishing he could leave Namek now. Seeing this, Lin Li turned his eyes. Speaking of it, it's not impossible, but at this critical moment, even though I am the head of this contact station, I can't play favoritism. By the way, don't you want to know why I came to you? I can tell you good news. The scion called Son Goku on your Earth has now arrived in Namek. What? Bulma was overjoyed when Lin Li mentioned Son Goku's arrival in Namek. Really? Son has successfully reached Namek? It's really great, staying on this planet. This is the only good news I've heard during this time. Saying that, Bulma let out a long breath. In her heart, Son Goku has always been a spiritual pillar. I thought it would take a while, but now it seems that things are going smoother than she thought. After he's dealt with the matter over there, he should take the initiative to come and find you to leave together, so it's just superfluous to borrow your universe ship now. After a few words, Lin Li appeased Bulma and asked her to tell Son Gohan and Kellen the news. After that, he came to the contact station again, and after talking to the Galaxy Patrol stationed here, he left. He still has to catch Jinyu. This task must be completed. Even if Jinyu died and went to hell, he would bring Jinyu back alive. Super Scion's transformation awakens. Although the original book mentions how to transform, he doesn't understand anything. If he could change easily, he would have realized the change long ago. Chapter 50. Scene transfer. On Scion's side, after some conversation and understanding, Son Goku knew how the current situation of the Namek Ball was. To put it simply, Frieza wants to snatch the Dragon Ball and achieve the wish of never dying. They are now the absolute opposite of Frieza. Son Goku really knew his home planet, Planet Vegeta. At the same time, I also know that Planet Vegeta was destroyed by Frieza, and my own parents died tragically in the planet explosion. It can be said that Frieza is their enemy. Speaking of which, Son Goku is not too angry about his hometown and parents. This is true both in the original and now. At the end of the original book, it was also Vegeta who let go of his proud self-esteem and prayed to Son Goku at the last moment of his death, which made Son Goku officially accept his identity. But the premise is still, Saiyan who grew up on the earth. To put it bluntly, it is because he suffered a severe head injury when he was a child, and everything about Saiyan has long been forgotten. Even if he mentions it now, he knows the truth, but he doesn't have a sense of belonging. In his subconscious mind, Earth is his home. In his mind, Frieza is certainly hateful, but if the other party is not a heinous existence, he may not even pursue the destruction of planet Vegeta and kill his parents before. That's it for the original. Let's talk about the stage of the original book beyond the era. In fact, everyone knows that Beerus is the real culprit that caused the destruction of planet Vegeta. But instead of attracting Saiyan's hatred, Son Goku and Vegeta and even all Z warriors and relatives have established a relationship with Beerus. Connect. Ultimately, Frieza is a scapegoat. Became a punching bag, became a vent. After some discussion, Son Goku reached an agreement with Saiyan 4. With the addition of Son Goku, the 4th Saiyan Master has also directly become the 5th Saiyan Master. They also made a decision one after another, that is to get back the lost Dragon Ball and prevent Frieza's conspiracy from being realized. Now the Dragon Ball has been taken away by Kenny to Frieza, so the initiative is not on their side. Just as they were thinking about the countermeasures, a white light flashed across the distant horizon. The gloomy and powerful breath entered the perception of several people, and the Saiyan 5th young master immediately came back to his senses, with a look of surprise in his eyes. This aura, so strong. Son Goku felt such a powerful aura for the first time, and immediately cheered up. He raised his head hastily, and looked towards the distant horizon. That aura was flying towards him. The goal is here. Humph. It must be Jinyu. Just now our injury recovery strength has been greatly improved, and our aura has been directly exposed. That guy should have learned about the situation here through the detector. Raditz said, just a word, and then explained made it clear. It's just in time. We were still afraid of him before, but now, our strength is not what it used to be. Nappa shouted angrily with a ferocious expression on his face. He was obviously dazzled. Thinking that the strength has greatly increased, and you can do whatever you want. As everyone knows, among the 5, he is still the weakest. This is also inevitable. First, Nappa is at least 20 years older than Vegeta and Raditz. Although he has fought a lot over the years, he has not accumulated much potential. Instead, he has exhausted most of the possibilities for becoming stronger. That is because he did not die in this battle, so he also got some opportunities to become stronger. Second, in terms of aptitude level, he is indeed not as good as Vegeta in the Sun Family series. Cut. Sure enough, Kakarot, how do you feel after feeling Jinyu's breath? Vegeta's face was surprisingly calm, and he was no longer nervous when he met Jinyu before. After being resurrected from the dying state, he already felt that he might be able to compete with Jinyu. And he also directly asked Son Goku how he felt. As long as Son Goku gives him a clear answer, then he has a certain answer. I haven't fought, who knows? However, if I use Kaioken, that guy is not my opponent. Son Goku said confidently. Kaioken. After all, now is Son Goku's whole card. He's sure he can play Kaioken almost 5 times now. Therefore, Jinyu's existence is certainly very strong. If he is serious, the other party is not his opponent at all. Is that really the case? Hey! UBD, how did you become stronger? Vegeta's voice became weaker and weaker. At this moment, it is full of reconciliation. Aside, Dales didn't pay attention to the conversation between Vegeta and Son Goku. He has his own ideas and plans. Humph. Jinyu, you came at the right time. The me now is completely different from before. Even if Kakarot is not your opponent, as long as I consume your strength, I can easily kill you. When the time comes, the Dragon Ball will also be mine, and Frieza will be trampled under my feet. After recovering from his injuries through Xiandu, his current strength is at least twice as strong as before. Facing Jinyu again, he thought he would be invincible. Whoosh! There was a piercing sound. Immediately afterwards, ripples appeared in the space, and Jinyu appeared in an instant, landing in front of Saiyan 5 young masters. Did it die? As soon as he arrived, Jinyu's combat power detector began to respond continuously. With one-to-one comparison, he had the first wave of data. Raditz's combat power has changed from 8,000 points to 40,000 points. Nappa's combat power has been changed from 6,000 points to 25,000 points. Vegeta's combat power has been increased from 28,000 to 60,000. Dale's combat power changed from 45,000 points to 70,000 points. There is also a scion who does not know where he came from, but looks exactly like Dale's, with a combat power of 5,000 points. After confirming his strength, Jinyu smiled with relief, understanding what's going on. Of course, if he knew what was really going on, he would be shocked. Because he simply thinks that these scions have mastered special abilities, so they can make their combat power stronger to this limit. His subordinates, Keith and Bart, only had 45,000 points of combat power, and even with Likam's 44,000 points, they couldn't possibly be their opponents. However, they were not their opponents, and Jinyu was different. His combat strength can be 120,000 points. Cut. Is there another scion monkey? Those with combat power of 5,000 points have appeared. It's really desperate. Speaking of which, it was indeed my carelessness that you were able to hide your combat power. Too much reliance on detectors led to the death of Geese and the others. However, now I know how strong you are. So, I won't be careless next, but kill you all. Jinyu is still so conceited. It seems that he has a sense of vigilance, but in fact, he still doesn't take Scion 5 young masters seriously. With a strength of tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, even if Dale's has 70,000 points, there is still a gap of 50,000 points. The strength of combat power cannot be compared by addition and subtraction. Don't get carried away there, Jinyu. Your men have been captured and taken away by the Galactic Patrol. Now, it's your turn. Dale's was gearing up, constantly provoking Jinyu. Humph. Really? Knowing that his men were not dead, but were arrested, Jinyu smiled cruelly, and raised his hand to point at the people in front of him. Kill you first, and I will go trouble with the Galaxy Patrol. You told me good news. After you are solved, I don't need to find new subordinates. In the next second, white-purple flames ignited all over Jinyu's body. The breath erupted in an instant, and the terrifying energy intensity shocked everyone present. Not good. This guy is really serious. Get out of the way. Son Goku, who was the first to react, jumped and ran towards the sky. He didn't expect that Jinyu would immediately magnify his moves. This is different from the battles he has experienced. Even though he dealt with the Jinyu team directly this time, he didn't make waves before coming up. He obviously thought too much. You know who will play with you slowly in a life and death battle? Vegeta and Dale sensed the crisis almost at the same time as Son Goku, and hurriedly followed. Only Raditz and Nappa didn't have time to get out of the way, but they also quickly made a defensive posture. Jinyu's energy attack exploded in an instant. Boom! The energy exploded, setting off a huge mushroom cloud thousands of meters high. The scalding heat generated by the flames of the explosion spread in all directions, which was terrifying. Son Goku, Vegeta, and Dale's narrowly dodged Jinyu's sudden attack. But Raditz and Nappa, even if they defended, the power of Jinyu's blow and the impact of the explosion directly swallowed them. Although still alive, he was seriously injured again. Let their self-confidence that has just been raised drop directly to the ground. Whoosh! There was a burst of piercing sound. Jinyu appeared right above them out of thin air. Do you think that the reputation of Captain Jinyu is in vain? Don't think that you can be self-righteous if you get rid of my subordinates. The arrogant words came out of Jinyu's mouth, and in an instant, he rushed to the closest distance Vegeta, punching the prince hard in the face. The terrifying blow set off huge waves and layers of space, immediately toppled Vegeta's entire body, and sent him flying. Die to me! Jinyu. Seizing the opportunity, Dale shot out white-purple energy light waves from both hands, directly hitting Jinyu's face. The furious energy passed through Jinyu's body, but did not cause any explosion. This is not Jinyu's body, but the afterimage of Jinyu after moving at high speed. Jinyu's body has teleported behind Dale's. Almost forgot about you, you dark-skinned wild monkey. It was a great mercy to save your life last time. Since you want to die, then I will help you. Folding his palms together to form a hammer, Jinyu slammed directly into Dale's back. The armor crumbled behind him, and acid water gushed out of his mouth, and Dale's fell straight towards the island not far away like a meteor. The terrifying power shattered the entire island in an instant. It's your turn. A wild monkey with only 5,000 combat power. Continuous shots, until now, Jinyu's eyes are red. A sturdy body broke out at its limit, and a terrifying aura swept over his body. Jinyu took the lead, delivering a barrage of heavy blows to Son Goku. However, the moment he fought against each other, he discovered the difference between Son Goku and other Saiyans. It's true that the opponent's combat power is only 5,000 points, but not only can he keep up with his speed, but he can also fight back and forth with him. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.